Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hollywood Spooktacular, the Halloween Spooktacular 2020 here at AN Productions. All right, let me open up this split screen and hope the audio doesn't freak the fuck out on me. But I got some characters here joining me today. Again, I'm Major Dundee here, and let's introduce these pigs.
This fucking frame. This fucking frame. All right.
Antonio? Well, who's Antonio, actually? Sorry.
Who are you, Antonio?
I'm world-renowned director of Which Way They Walk, Adam Noyes.
Oh.
Dude, Adam Noyes is here.
Yeah, I know, right?
Holy
Like,
shit.
I can't believe we were able to get me here.
Yeah, man.
All right, and now who's this other person?
Who is this other person? Hello, everyone. It is me, the Cuddle Team leader from hit video game Fortnite, getting the dub 24/7 and going to be taking down Galactus very soon in this season. Also, this is my set. I worked hard on it.
And that's our motley crew. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, let the spooktacular begin.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Did President Trump issue a pardon for you?
What?
It's directed to you, Adam.
Well,
to,
yeah.
to
To you,
me?
Adam.
It's directed towards you. Did President Trump give you a
okay.
pardon?
Yes, he did. Thank God. Because he's so busy, having maybe a little too much to drink, if you know what I mean. He was just like, and you can just not.
Oh, I forgot the big thing. Hold on.
The big thing.
Oh, the big thing?
The big
Vamp.
Me, Adam
Vamp?
Noyes,
From
is
Metal Gear
mad
Solid
excited
2?
for this.
What? Where are you going? Get back
What?
here.
This is. Get back to my live stream. You can't leave my stream.
I can't believe this clown. Unprofessional.
So unprofessional. I mean, he is a war criminal, after all. Major Dundee, can I ask you something?
Keep vamping.
Major Dundee? Can I ask you something?
Major Dundee? Yeah, that's me.
What makes you think that you can just get up and like leave my live stream for a little
Excuse
bit?
me, it's my live stream.
I see that this is an AN Productions live stream, and I'm pretty sure that I am AN.
Well, you know what? Yeah, okay.
You know what AN does not stand for? Major Dundee.
It does now. It's the Russian alphabet.
Shit.
Oh,
I didn't think of that. I know I have this big smile on my face, but it's all frowns from here on out, fam.
So what did you get, Major Dundee?
I'm sorry, I was trying to make sure the audio to the live stream was still going okay.
Still okay?
It is. This is Fireball. And I intend to drink it out of the bottle.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I have a whole candy bowl at my side right here. Just taking shit as I go.
I got iced tea.
Hell yeah. Kit Kat, bro.
Ding dong, man. Ding dong, yo.
I don't know, man.
It's from Weird Al's Eat It.
Oh, okay.
This is off to a great start.
I'm having a blast, Adam.
Oh, this is good
This
shit.
is good shit.
This is what Adam would look like with hair.
It's true. Well, no. Actually, if Adam had
Well, you are
hair,
blonde.
if Adam really had hair, that's clearly a wig, because if Adam had hair, it'd be yellow.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, that's enough of that. I just love how I took a drink of it. Like, oh yeah, it's water.
This is water, though. Just so you know.
That is water.
I'm already running out. I should have grabbed a second water bottle. Ah,
All right, so the question that I have for, let's see, all of you is, how do you celebrate Halloween? Like, what? Because Halloween's my personal favorite holiday. I just think
I'm
it's
in
a
the
great
same boat
time
as
to be
well.
alive. Even in COVID times, I can't say that my Halloween spirit has diminished whatsoever.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
if I may interject with that too, because today I went and got some stuff for my set here, and I went to a Spirit Halloween opened up like right in my town, and literally I'm like a kid in a candy shop like prancing
Oh
around
my
with
God.
the thing. She's like, "Ooh, blacklight, I'll take that." I got a freaking skull here. I'm like, I'm having a great freaking time, despite everything that's happening. Halloween is still like a great time for me. I'm having it, and it's still going, man.
Yeah, absolutely,
Oh yeah.
absolutely. Antonio, why is Halloween? Antonio, I'm sorry, Adam.
Yes. Thank you for
How
addressing me
how,
as
wh-
such.
why is it your favorite?
I just love the dressing up. Like I like thinking of like characters to be, and then like finding a way of like finding like a, because I usually make my own costumes. Like I haven't like bought a costume since I was like, I want to say like 12. So I like making the costumes. That's my favorite part. And then like showing what I've made. I never really do anything that intricate, but like still just trying to find like ordinary clothes that like match this character's aesthetic.
It shouldn't really surprise anyone that I love going for history stuff. Like last year, I was Julius Caesar, and then like the year before that, I was just a Civil War soldier. Now I'm Major Dundee from the movie Major Dundee, aka Charlton Heston, and I love that movie. But Halloween is just great because it's a time when you can bring out your inner horror movie nerd and not feel
Hmm.
completely weird about watching people getting butchered alive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's everyone's favorite horror movie? Out of curiosity.
Uh, that's a tough because like the topic of horror movie in general is that like I am such a sucker for like the Universal monster movies. I really genuinely love those movies. Even like about them, I love the monsters like Frankenstein, Dracula, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Creature especially is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Yeah.
that. But you know what's funny? I have that appreciation more for the Hammer horror movies now, the British remakes of
Hammer's good
them.
too. Hammer ones are good too.
Uh, Antonio, how about you? Because you're a weirdo.
um so it's hard for me to pick like a favorite because I watch like a lot of bad ones.
Mm,
Because there is definitely a good share of like bad horror
yeah,
movies.
yeah.
But two that come to mind is one is actually a short film called it's like The Strange Case of the Johnsons or something like that. Uh, so spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, like I highly recommend that you do watch it. Like even after knowing like the reveal, which happens like 2 seconds in, it's still like really interesting. So it's like the movie starts out with like a dad catching his son masturbating.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a horror movie in
So
itself.
that in
Yeah.
its own right is a horror
yeah,
movie.
so the son feels all awkward about it, and the dad walks in and he's like, it's natural, like it's okay to do stuff like that, like you know just be like good about it, and also like you could talk to me about anything if you have any questions, like the normal conversation that you would have. And then the dad leaves the room, uh
What's he
and
masturbating to?
it cuts to his hand, and it reveals what the photo is, and the photo is of his dad.
Oh,
Oh my fucking
what
god.
is that? Is that horror or is that just cringe?
No, it's horror because of what happens after.
Oh, there's more.
Oh.
You had
Oh
me
yeah, there's more.
intrigued. Go
That's
on.
literally what I told you was probably the first like maybe like 5 minutes of a 40-minute
Oh,
film.
okay.
Oh.
I'd love to watch it.
Okay.
I'm genuinely intrigued.
It's by the same director as another one of my favorite horror movies, Hereditary.
Oh,
That
I
movie
loved
rules.
Hereditary. That was such a good movie.
Really, that director made that one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I really wanted to watch Midsommar, but I missed it.
Midsommar, I was very 50-50 on. I didn't think it was bad, but I also thought it was just strange at times. But like, I think you might like it.
Mm-hmm.
No, no.
Another good one though is that I watched recently is The Boy.
Oh, I think
So
yeah.
yeah, so essentially the premise of that is that this lady is brought in to babysit this old rich couple's child.
Yeah.
But when she gets there, the child is a doll.
I've never heard of that.
And
Really?
yeah, and I don't want to talk too much about it because the twist of it makes the movie really fucking good.
Okay. Because I feel like, can I ask a question then? Because I feel like I saw a trailer for this, and I feel like they never showed the boy as a doll or something. I might be thinking of a different movie actually, but
No, no, they definitely showed
okay,
the
okay.
doll.
I'm thinking something else then.
But if you're gonna watch that movie, do not watch the sequel. The sequel is so bad it ruins the first movie.
Damn. Who'd have thought?
Because it takes like what was cool about the first movie and then like just says, no, that's not real.
Yeah. That's dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know what my favorite horror movie is.
I know another one I really liked. It was I feel like it was a little hokey on the rewatch, but like I like The Strangers. Did you guys ever watch that?
I love The Strangers.
That
No.
movie was really cool, and that movie really, like, the suspense in that movie is really good. And even if like it gets kind of hokey towards the end, I still overall like the beginning of the movie where the build up is happening to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of another movie I really liked, and I know it's a popular one. I just can't remember the title right now. It's essentially like it's like a sexually transmitted demon.
It
What the
Follows.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was
It
such a
Follows.
good
Oh,
I
fucking
haven't
movie.
watched that one.
Oh, it is so good.
Yeah, that one. That
That
one's
is-
really good.
I
That
gotta
was
watch.
the closest thing I have seen to a John Carpenter movie since John Carpenter. Very good.
Yeah, that one's really good. And the only reason that I would want a sequel is just to like explore the rules.
I hope
of
they
the
don't make a
monster
sequel.
more.
That was just a great one and done movie.
Yeah, I would be okay either way.
But going back to The Strangers is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. That was one of the movies that generally freaked me out. I mean, just to be clear, that's the one with Liv Tyler, correct?
Okay, so I was actually about to mention that too because I wasn't sure if there was a remake of, because I'm talking when it came out 2000s. You might be talking about I don't know if there was an original one or not.
Liv Tyler was in. Yeah, double
Hold on,
check
I'll double
because
check real
I've
quick.
only seen the one from 2000 and it was made in the 2000s.
We might be talking about the same one then, because I feel like there might have been an older this Strangers movie.
Well, there's a lot of
Well,
movies
I'll
named The
double check really
Strangers,
quick.
unfortunately, but including a spaghetti western that's rather good.
2008.
Yeah, that's the one.
2008.
Yeah.
That's the movie. Okay, we're in the same boat.
And I love how you see them like walking in the background and
Oh yeah, the first when I think she's like playing a record and the guy with the white mask shows up for the first. It might have been the first or second time, but oh my god, just like
yeah, like I personally think those type of scares are scarier than like jump scares and stuff like that.
I agree.
Because don't get me
Oh,
wrong, a good jump
100%.
scare is a good jump scare.
Facts, because I'm always in the boat, and I'm not saying this because of a certain franchise I like. A jump scare, yes, there are weak jump scares. Scare hits, it actually does fucking hit if it's a good one.
Oh,
And
definitely.
You know a good one. You know a good one when it happens.
Oh yeah, you do. My favorite jump scare is actually in The Exorcist 3. And everyone poo-poos on The Exorcist 2, of course. But The Exorcist 3, if you ever do get a chance to watch it, is very good. And it is actually universally praised. I'd recommend checking it out. George C. Scott's in it. It's really fucking good. But I love that atmospheric kind of scare. That's one reason why I really like the Silent Hill movie, believe it or not.
I've never actually watched.
I've never seen it.
I love the Silent Hill movie. I've never played the games. I love the movie. Because the movie
I've
creeped me
never
the
even
fuck
really
out.
played the games.
What'd you say, Antonio?
I said I've never really played the games either.
Oh.
So let me propose a question really quick to you guys. So slashers are a big thing. Slasher as a genre is a big thing. Were you guys big into the slasher movies at all?
A bit.
Yeah. Because to me, the king is still the first Halloween.
Oh, of course. That's the
Oh,
one that
yeah.
really
That
kicked it
movie is
off.
legit awesome.
Well,
And I don't know-
I'm sorry, that didn't really create it. I mean, to me, the slasher film was basically created by Psycho, but
Yeah.
I could say Halloween made it famous. Like
that to me is like, yeah.
yeah, it
Did you guys ever see
revolutionized it.
the follow-up Halloween movie that came out like 2 or 3 years ago?
I
No,
never saw
missed
it.
it.
I had
I
no
really
interest in
liked
seeing it.
Legit, I really did like it, and now I found out they're apparently making a sequel to that, and I'm like,
Oh, come on.
all right.
Well, of course
But
they
like,
are. They have to. It's
like-
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Crazy Laurie Strode was fucking awesome in that movie. Like, I'm not even joking. That alone is worth the watch. And I think it was an entertaining movie from start to finish. There's a great shot in the movie. It's a whole one-take shot where Michael Myers goes from, like, different house to house killing people in different ways. And it's all one-taker. And the Halloween theme's playing. It's fucking awesome.
Well, yeah. That. Speaking of that, that's like got to be one of the most like iconic fucking.
Totally.
Oh. You didn't even have to finish that sentence.
Yeah, totally.
I
I will ask, while we're on the topic of Halloween, what's all of your stance on Season of the Witch, the third one?
I
never
love
saw
it.
it.
I love that movie.
I love it. I think it's really good.
The ending, especially to that movie, is so fucking chaotic. It's great.
It really is. It is pretty crazy. But the music score alone in that film,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's one of the greatest music scores ever composed.
A great music score for that movie too.
And there's stuff like that. Like that was the big inspiration, particularly Halloween 3 was the big inspiration for John S. Weekly when he was creating the music for my film
Really?
FM 132.9.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because he loves that kind of music, that kind of creepy stuff. Another reason why I loved It Follows so much was because it played up that sort of synthesizer music.
Yeah,
Totally. And it was created by a band in that film.
I just love with It Follows, like, the monster is such a not monster.
Oh, you
Like,
don't see it, and I love that.
Yeah, you never see
That's
it.
cool.
It always just manifests as just somebody walking towards you.
Yeah, and
Like
I've
90% of the movie.
yeah, I've always absolutely loved that. With my horror film. Sorry, I'm just playing with some of the settings here on OBS, but let's see. In terms of like because you brought up something interesting, Lucas, with the Universal horror stuff.
Mhm.
Out of all of them, the one that everyone seems to universally praise the most is the Wolfman, and I disagree with that.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, I love the Wolfman. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong,
Yeah.
but I freaking adore to no end the original Frankenstein.
I love the original Frankenstein too. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's the
Again,
original one.
I mentioned before, Creature is my favorite of them. I've always resonated with the creature from the Black Lagoon. I've always liked that monster. I've always thought it was one of the earliest monsters I saw as a kid. So like I was always scared of it, but at the same time I always just wanted to keep seeing it. Like I loved him. He's great. I like his movie, and I like the whole story in it.
Yeah.
The underwater shots are great too in that movie.
Oh yeah. Well, Creature from the Black Lagoon, I think as a whole is my favorite.
Hmm.
That's the one I always watched the most. But have you seen the sequels at all, Lucas?
I don't. Okay, I think I caught the second one on TV at one point. I don't really remember. And isn't like the third one? It's like the creature walks among us or something.
Yeah,
I've never
it's
saw
a
that one.
surprise. It's not great, but it's at least them trying something new.
I get what you're saying. I get what. Yeah.
Because the sequel is very much just like a reboot, except let's
Yeah.
put him in a zoo.
Mhm.
But the third one at least was like exploring the idea that he is a human, just evolved differently. The whole idea that we are the way we are because we evolved on land. He is the way he is because he's like us, but he evolved in the water.
That is interesting, actually.
And
I really should sit down and watch that. Honestly,
I have it. I
Yeah.
have it on DVD. I have all three on DVD, I should say. But it's okay. I genuinely like it. I mean, there's no beating the original. The original one is just really it's got some of the greatest atmosphere, and that's something that all of the Universal horror films have in droves. Even the bad ones, like the Frankenstein sequels.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, don't people like Bride?
oh yeah,
that
Bride
one?
is good. Don't get me wrong,
People
Bride
like
is
Bride.
good.
Yeah.
But the ones after that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you can't deny that they are subpar compared to those two movies.
I still want to watch Spanish Dracula. I have not done it yet, but I still really want to.
It's I don't agree with people on the whole who say it's better than, because I'm
Yeah.
not exactly a fan of Bela Lugosi's one,
Hmm.
and I genuinely feel bad for thinking that. Mainly because I understand how it is a good movie.
Yeah.
I do. I really do. But I'm like, Frankenstein is so much better, and it was only made a
Yeah.
year later.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you need to justify it. It's just you prefer one or the other.
However, Hammer's Dracula with Christopher Lee, the horror of Dracula, as it was released over here, is phenomenal.
That's a good movie.
Yes, it is phenomenal. That was also apparently the first Dracula movie to really sort of sexualize Dracula in a way, because apparently, like, Terrence Fisher, when he was directing the woman who gets hypnotized by him towards the middle of the film, he says, she was like, "How do you want me to act?" And he looked at her and said, "I want you to act like you've just had the best sex of your life."
Yeah, I remember reading about that, actually. I totally remember reading about that.
I absolutely love that. The same with to me, there's no beating Hammer horrors like Frankenstein. I love the Frankenstein movies that they made because they did the right thing, where the Universal films made the monster Frankenstein. The Hammer movies opened the door wide open with making it about the Doctor. So, like, he's like experimenting with souls. There's one where he creates all these monsters and shit like that. And even the weaker of those movies with Peter Cushing are still watchable. You know, they've still got this wicked, creepy atmosphere with it. I mean, just Hammer is really good at that. I've got a podcast coming out about this, actually, or about Hammer
On the
horror.
topic of Frankenstein, though, I need to really quickly look up. There's one variant of Frankenstein I watched in like high school for one of my English classes. I forget who directed it, but it was. Hold on, just give me a second to find it.
This is the one with Robert De Niro.
It is the one with Robert De Niro.
Hey, that was good. I like that one.
I don't even know if I didn't dislike it, but at the same time, the entire time I was just fascinated watching it. Specifically, there's one amazing line in that movie when Frankenstein decides he's had enough and he wants to get revenge on his creator. I will have my revenge, Frankenstein.
Oh yeah,
That was the best fucking
absolutely.
scene in that movie. Love that scene.
I don't hate that movie like a lot of people do, but
I gotta rewatch it, really, truthfully. I'm coming from a place of, like, I want to rewatch it and just kind of sit through it again.
because I mean, the last time, because it's been a while, we should rewatch it together, because I've been wanting to revisit that one for quite a while.
Yeah.
So let's see. Mike Dorado, whoever that is, Dorado, says, "I'm very fond of The Invisible Man." I do love The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised Hammer never attempted to do The Invisible Man, because they did Phantom of the Opera and everything.
Did any of you guys see the new, like, Invisible Man that came out?
Yes, it was very
No.
good.
I heard it was good. I never got around to watching it because, like, it was scrapped from the Dark universe. Remember when that was a thing?
Oh God.
That's not exactly true. It's a lot better than
Oh, really?
that.
Really, it wasn't. I thought it was part of it
No.
at one point.
Oh, it
my
was
bad.
going to
My
be,
mistake.
but then they completely scrapped it. This is something completely different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was very
I'm
good.
sorry.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I have to give it a. I've heard good things about it. I have to give it a watch.
Mainly because it was indeed a horror movie,
Yeah, and I know it's like it's a little more sci-fi. I know that.
which is fine. It's The Invisible Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I prefer that with, like, The Invisible Man than I do with, like, something like or like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Because my personal favorite werewolf movie is, it's either Curse of the Werewolf, which is the Hammer Wolfman film, or it's a movie called Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers.
Yes,
Never
and it's
heard.
literally a bunch of Scottish soldiers are doing a test, are like, they get lured into this house and they have to defend this house from, like, an army of werewolves. Now, as creepy or as cheesy as that sounds, it's handled in the best way possible.
That's cool.
It's got, like, the right amount of comedy to it without making it just silly, because it's still terrifying. The werewolves in particular are terrifying in that film, and they're all practical too. They didn't have exactly a huge budget for the film, but you knew what they spent the money on was great, and that was a lot of the gore effects, which are not over the top, but they're real visceral in the best possible way. And of course, the werewolves themselves. I think they built like 2 werewolves in total, and the rest of them they had like cardboard cutouts and stuff like that. Like they would just have it run by the screen in the distance and stuff like that. It's a really great example of low budget filmmaking, but it's a great film. I happened to see it on the Sci-Fi Channel one day. Not a Sci-Fi original film, but it was on Sci-Fi one day.
Yeah.
And totally blew me away. And they shot it on like 16mm film too, so it's like super grainy and everything like that. Yeah. Oh, it's a really good movie.
I'm not really sure what werewolf. I'm not sure what my favorite werewolf besides like the basic like Wolfman American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf in London's good. And
also, the thing is, a werewolf in concept is just really terrifying to me. Like the fact that if like you get turned into a werewolf and now you have this curse basically on you all the time. That concept to me is just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. Justin Tang asks, do you prefer the Invisible Man or the Human Vapor? I prefer the Invisible Man by far. The Human Vapor, that's an Ishiro Honda movie, is a good movie, but its script doesn't make a lick of sense if you really start dissecting it. That's the problem. The thing that saves the Human Vapor is its characters, particularly the Human Vapor himself. That's what saves that movie. However, Justin, I can't really agree with you. Or I can't really say it's a better movie because I watched The Invisible Man and it makes logical sense what they do. The science doesn't make a lick of sense, but that's fine. In terms of the decisions that are made, the motives that are in the film, the story itself, you can follow it from point A to point B to point C, and it makes sense. While in The Human Vapor, there are things that happen in it, and it sort of disregards its own rules. And as a result, I think The Human Vapor is inferior to The Invisible Man. Still a good movie, though. I still recommend it, if any of you can find it. That's a movie, that's one of Ishiro Honda's movies that has never officially been released over here on home media. Or at least on DVD. It's been released on VHS, but it was the horribly re-edited and butchered American version that's just garbage.
Classic maneuver.
Yep. Yep. Actually, Justin, I'm going to say this. I think the H-Man, another Ishiro Honda movie that has been released on DVD over here, another Ishiro Honda film, is better than The Human Vapor, and I would say is pretty close to The Invisible Man. I really like the H-Man. I enjoy it quite a bit. So Ishiro Honda made 3 horror-esque kind of movies. The H-Man, The Human Vapor, and then Matango. And Matango, especially, is a fucking masterpiece. It's so creepy. And that film is about these people who are on a yacht that get shipwrecked on an island that's like completely desolate because of radiation. And the only thing that seems to thrive on that island that's quote-unquote a food source are these mushrooms. However, on a shipwreck on that island, they discover in the journal that you do not eat the mushrooms. Do not. Which sounds silly, like don't eat the shrooms, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a clever commentary on a few other things, but at least on that was it's a commentary on Japan's drug problems at the time. And so on and so forth. But if you eat the mushrooms, and of course characters do because they start getting so hungry, it's got an intoxicating effect to it that makes you want to eat more, but in the process, it starts turning you into a mushroom.
Oh, shit.
And that's how the mushrooms reproduce.
You become Toad from Mario.
That sounds very similar to a story that was in Uzumaki.
It wouldn't surprise me because that guy is a fan of Ishiro Honda.
Oh,
yeah.
That makes sense.
In fact, actually, you know what? Matango is such a cult film that Steven Soderbergh was trying to remake it forever. He was trying to remake Matango. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a really creepy movie. Really, it's. This
is making me think. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lucas.
This is making me think of. I remember watching. It was a fucking awful one. With friends in like early early high school because I just met them, so I was like trying to like hang out with them for a while. We put on Netflix. I forget the exact. It might have been called Shrooms or something, but it was like a stoner horror movie or something.
Oh, I've heard of this.
And I could not get into that one, man. Even then, when I was even fully like movie awoken yet, like fully like understanding like what makes a movie. But like, man, that was a hard burn for me to sit through. Because I was never a stoner kid either, so it's like,
Yeah, me
I'm like,
neither. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
However,
here
Wolf
we
Cop.
go.
Have you
Which
seen
movie?
Wolf Cop on Netflix?
I don't think I have not
That's
seen
the
Wolf Cop.
shit. You see his dick explode.
All right, I'm sold.
That's the
I've
shit.
seen- Wait, Wolf Cop.
Yes.
Is that by the one of like James Rolfe's friends, right?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it's
I didn't
really
know
good. It's actually
one of
really
the
good.
guys on
The
Mental
practical
Illness.
effects on that movie are phenomenal. It's and I was sold when I saw his dick explode when he's turning into a werewolf. and I'm just like, oh, this is beautiful. I want to make movies like that. Hey, I'm still bound and determined from the last live show we did. I'm still bound and determined to remake The Killer Shrews. Quite a few of Ishiro Honda's films have horror elements. You're absolutely right, Mike. War of the Gargantuas, in particular, has a horror feel throughout the entire thing. Which is funny, because you'd think Frankenstein Conquers the World or Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You'd think that movie would have horror elements in it, and it really doesn't. And that's one of the problems I actually have with the movie. While War of the Gargantuas has some really great horror elements with it. The opening on the ship, the fact that Gyra eats people, and so on and so forth. The gloomy atmosphere on the mountains throughout the entire film and such. It's got some horror elements in it that I really like. And I can say it worked because when I was a kid, it did scare me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's War of the Gargantuas was such a good fucking movie.
So I guess that's a good segue into, because I'm just kind of curious with you guys. What was the first horror movie you guys ever saw?
Oh,
The Thing from
that's
Another
a
World.
Good.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of what my first one was. I'm trying to think like the first one I really sat down and watched. It honestly really might have been the first Halloween. I know I mentioned that movie already, but like it really might have been that.
Yeah, mine. I know mine, and it was the 1950s The Thing from Another World, and that scared the fuck out of me.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, and I really do love John Carpenter's remake. I really do, and I think objectively, it is a better movie. But subjectively, I have such a soft spot for the original Thing from Another World that I just adore it to this day. I mean, the scene where they light the thing on fire in that movie, they had an actual stunt guy in there, and he was literally on fire. The entire place is ablaze, and it's the only light source in that room. To this day, I'm like, how the fuck did they do it? From like a filmmaker standpoint.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. Because at least, at least in John Carpenter's The Thing, which again is a masterpiece, you can kind of sit back and say, okay, that's a puppet. From a filmmaker standpoint, that's a puppet. That's kind of like a rubber suit. They probably put a bunch of KY jelly on it, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But The Thing from Another World, the scene where they light the guy on fire, I'm like,
yeah.
Like, did they actually light that guy on fire?
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, they literally light him on fire. And it's because they splash gasoline on him and shoot a flare at him, and it just catches the entire room on fire, including him. And it's one of the most impressive scenes in cinema history, in my opinion, from a technical standpoint, in the least.
Oh, man. What's funny is I look back at what my first horror movie was, and like as I was watching it when I was a kid, I was terrified and it gave me nightmares. But then I watched it when I was older. I'm like, this is a horror comedy.
What movie?
It was Child's Play.
Oh, I can never take that movie. I was never scared by that movie. I was laughing throughout the entire thing because the first one.
To be fair, the first time I watched it, I was probably like 6.
Okay. Well, yeah, it would have freaked me out then too, I guess. But no. You see, I like the sequels more than the original one because the original one, I was like, yeah. I'm laughing at this. And that was trying to be a horror film. But all the sequels, they're like, no, let's play up the fact that this is the fucking killer doll.
Yeah. No, the best part of Child's Play to me, like upon rewatch, and it's the scene that makes me laugh the hardest, like of any scene in the movie, is when he talks on screen for the first time. And it's just like a lady that's like,
Yep.
just talk,
Yep.
talk,
You
say
stupid
something. And he just
bitch!
goes, you fucking bitch, you stupid whore.
I've actually never been big on the Child's Play train, but I do love that scene. That scene's fucking great.
I like the series. Even like the new movies are good.
I never saw the new
Well,
one.
they were all made by the same guy too.
Yeah, and they're the same. I didn't see the new one, the one with Mark Hamill, because I was like, I'm not touching that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I never saw it.
Because like as much
But,
as I
like-
love Mark Hamill, you can't beat.
He's not Chucky. Chucky isn't Chucky without the original actor, because he's literally played him up until that movie.
That's how I feel about Freddy Krueger. Like it's just got to be Robert Englund, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like it's.
Everyone's out of sync, and it's making me very upset.
Oh no.
Oh, do I gotta do a 1, 2, 3 clap?
Well, that's just it. Like I'm trying to play with the audio, and it's like it's just not taking.
Hmm. Yeah, I like the Child's Play series, as silly as they are.
Yeah.
It also didn't help because the first time I watched that movie, I was probably about 6 years old, and it didn't help because I had like a miniature Chucky doll like in like my basement where I like played games, so like that didn't help.
Well, for me, Antonio, in the case of you, whereas like you kind of look back on it now and it's like that wasn't that scary. That's me in Goosebumps, like because Goosebumps was my fucking jam, both the show and the books. But and even like there was one episode of Goosebumps still to this day that like I still shudder a little bit, but it genuinely scared me as a kid because of the sound design in it. The one of How to Kill Your Monster.
Oh
Because
yeah,
in the
because that
book,
was my favorite Goosebumps.
The monster. Yeah, in the book, the monster is just described as, your generic kind of grassy swamp monster. In the show, they made it like a reptilian, like alligator-like creature with this loud fucking screech.
Oh
and
my
it
God.
legitimately scared the shit out of me. And there's a point where like the kids trick it because the stairway you go up and there isn't actually like thing so something can fall off of it. They trick it to run up there and it falls and you presume it's dead, and then out of nowhere, unannounced, it shows up again.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, that was legit.
Well, the freaking mask one too that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That one's great too.
Yeah.
I love that shit. Fuck yeah, Halloween. I love it.
Goosebumps is a good fucking
I wouldn't
show.
say it was a
I
good
love
show.
I could still watch
No,
it.
it was good. To me, it was a good like kids version of Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Adam, I'll be honest with you. I'm totally 100% on Team Antonio right now because like
because I love
Which
the
to an
books.
extent by your
I used
character,
to
right?
because I'm a rather voracious reader. I used to fucking read Goosebumps all the time, and a lot of people thought that these are too old for you because I was like in 2nd, 3rd grade when I was picking these up. I was like, nonsense, bitch.
Oh, you were dude. You were 2nd, 3rd, dude. I picked it up late. I was like 5th grade when I picked up Goosebumps.
Well, that's the age
Yeah.
range that they were
Same.
kind of like for. They're for like 4th, 5th, 6th graders.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. My bad.
Then
But
there
still,
was a
it's
book
like
called The Blob
I
that
think
ate
I love
everyone.
that series. Yeah, I did.
That one made me laugh my ass off.
I mean, there's also the meme one because of JonTron of the kid turning into a dog like slowly throughout the episode.
Oh,
I like that
yeah,
Goosebumps.
that fucking
Yeah,
episode. I'll tell you.
My hairiest day. That's what that one was.
Like minus JonTron meme. I just love like it's like, can a guy get some privacy?
Goosebumps, like there are so many, like there are like legit scary ones, but then you think of like the one I thought about this the other day. There's a book called How I Learned to Fly.
Yeah.
Where's the horror? That sounds fucking awesome. Hell yeah.
Because then it stops working.
Oh no. There's also
Trouble in Terror Tower. I loved.
yeah, that one's cool.
Mm-hmm.
The Egg Monsters from Mars was one I remember.
What's the name of the puppet?
Slappy.
Yeah, those
It
ones
was-
were always good.
Yeah, Night of the Living Dummy, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
These are the books, not the show, right?
It's both.
Yeah, well, we're going interchange.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember watching any of the show then.
Night of the Living Dummy, they did 2 and they did 3 in the show. They actually never did the first one in the show.
I also remember this one. There was like these kids. Not sure if they made it into a show, but it was definitely a book. But I distinctly remember where they turned it into these. They find a camera.
Oh, that's Say Cheese and Die?
Yeah, Say Cheese and Die.
I don't know if I know they made the first one into an episode. I don't know if they ever did the second one in an episode. They might have, though.
Was there a sequel to it?
It was called Say Cheese and Die Again.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Again, I was a big Goosebumps. When I got into Goosebumps, I got fucking into Goosebumps, man. Like,
did you guys watch Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes, that was my shit. That was my shit.
I missed that. I missed that, but I've watched it more growing up. I'm like, yeah, that's just
apparently, and I have no memory of this. Apparently, whenever that show when I was like a young kid, I would always change the channel. But like, I do not remember. I don't remember ever even like knowing that the show existed until like after it was off the air.
I love that shit. But yeah, there was one in particular that scared the fuck out of me on that show too. And I just remember this thing coming out of the pool.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, that
I know what
scared
you're talking
the
about.
absolute fuck out of me.
It's like decaying and shit. Like,
yes. Justin Tang says, "Hey guys, here's a challenge. This Halloween, you could actually torment yourselves by watching My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic." Yes, I agree.
Oh, I'm already doing that with Steve
Yeah,
at some point in my life.
I'm just hanging out.
You know what? I'll say it. Fuck it. You know what? Fuck you, Steve. I do not respect that franchise at all, and I do not respect the fandom whatsoever.
I have no stake in this horse, and I'm gonna just kindly.
Is that a pun?
No, it wasn't. Fuck. That was not. I hate when that.
My only like motive in watching it with Steve is like I just want to see why. Like, why is there such a fan base for this pony show?
I mean, I understand it. I just like it ain't my cup of tea, but I don't.
It ain't
really,
my cup of tea
I don't
at all.
really
It's
show
for
it.
little girls.
Do Goosebumps.
Yeah, let's go
No,
back
no,
to
no. I wanna piss Steve off.
All right. Go back to Goosebumps.
If you want to piss Steve off, just put up the fucking trailer for Minecraft Steve.
It came from beneath the sink. Was about a killer sponge.
That is pretty true.
Oh,
What was the name of that other show? Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider? What? That's
There
a
were-
Marvel character.
Well, yes. No, not Ghost Rider. Ghost Writer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually don't know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure it's like a Canadian show. But the only episode that I know about is about like this like purple like globby doll that would just be like
I'm very.
and I don't
I have no
remember
idea what you're talking about.
anything about it. Hold up. I'm talk. I'm gonna. I
He's gotta do some
research.
fucking research.
Words.
So based in Adam Noyce Pilled, I guess, is a thing now. Let's see. Hi, Adam, Antonio, and Lucas. Oh, hey, it's the title of the show.
Oh, look. It's actually Antonio, Adam, and
yeah.
Lucas, but like you know,
Sorry.
I should be on the left if you want to be
Well,
technical.
all right, fine. Fuck you.
Well, to be fair, I was Adam for a while.
No, fuck you. You said it.
Now I'm Mr. Crocker.
Oh, you bastard! I was about to say that.
There you go.
Got it before I can do it.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go.
Balance has been restored.
Now I just have to be playing games and Lucas has to be writing in a notebook.
Oh, fuck. Oh fuck.
Where are my controllers? They're all away from me out of arm's reach. I'll just play with this air conditioner remote.
Well, that looks like a remote enough to me. Well, anyways, Martin.
Guys, impromptu episode. Antonio, stop farting.
I'll fart when I want. End of episode. All right.
Oh no, the episode's just started.
Adam, are you drinking? Alcohol is bad, Adam. You're gonna die.
Yeah, come on, Adam. Don't you know what alcohol does to your eyes?
Is it your eyes?
Your eyes, man. You know what? Masturbating makes you go blind.
I've
heard about that.
Gives you hairy palms.
It does that too. My palms are sweet and hairless. Thank you very much.
All right, everyone, palm check.
Oh, palm check.
Palm check.
Yeah, hold on. Keep them there. Keep them there.
We're
Keep
good.
them there.
Oh shit! Fuck. Sorry.
Right? No hair on these palms.
Mm.
All right.
Okay, that's good.
All
That's
right.
good.
No hair on his palms.
No hair.
Mm-mm.
No hair on his palms either.
We're all good Christian boys.
You're all good Christian boys.
Well, thank God we got that out of
Thank
the way.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
The mandatory palm check. Have you completely off
I am
topic,
trying to
have
read
you
this
guys ever
fucker's
seen the
comment.
Super-
Okay? Okay? He might not be able to
I'm
stay on
about
the
to
chat
talk about
for...
the Super Mario Brothers sex ed video.
No, well, fuck
okay?
you. This is my stream. All right.
No,
fuck,
it's
Adam.
my stream.
He's back. Okay.
This is why we
What did he
created the
comment?
show.
What did
Okay.
he say?
He doesn't know how long he's going to be here with you guys. There's a new online live kaiju convention happening right now called Kaiju Masterclass happening right now. Well, he can go fuck himself.
We gotta
Yeah.
turn this off
They
now.
can go fuck themselves.
Oh shit! I have to go watch that.
Hi everyone.
I'll tell you why. I actually forgot that was a thing. I don't really care.
I didn't know it was a... That's cool.
Oh yeah, that was going to be like a kaiju. They were going to have like a kaiju convention, and it got canceled because of COVID. And then they were doing that.
Yeah.
Forgot that was a thing, so that's a bad scheduling thing on my part. Oh well. Oh well. All right. So now you can continue with whatever the fuck you were doing, Antonio.
Yeah, Antonio, what are you talking
Oh,
about?
okay. So have you guys ever seen the Super Mario Brothers sex ed video?
No,
I have not seen this
What
one.
is this?
So okay, so it's a video on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's just like made. It's essentially like it's like Mario sucks Captain N into the TV and teaches him about sex ed. And there's one part, and I'm going to voice act this as best as I possibly can, where Mario is talking about it to Captain N, and then Luigi pops up, and then Mario goes, "Here's my brother to give you a heap and a hop and a bit of informazione."
So he's Bill Cosby?
Wait. So it starts out with Mario being like, "I'm gonna give you a hip and a hop and a bit of informazione," and then Luigi talks and he goes, "Hello, Mario." Just and then it starts talking about like legit sex ed, and it like zooms into Peach's like vagina. It zooms into Toad for the penis.
What?
I'm not making. I wish I could have made this up.
That's
I wish I was
fucking
creative
wild.
enough to
Is
make
this on
this
Pornhub?
up. No, it's on YouTube.
I'm looking it up.
Is this officially licensed by Nintendo?
I do not think so.
That's fucking nuts.
It kills me. Just here's my brother to give you a hip and a hop and a
What's the Smash Bros.
informazione.
Sex ed?
Super Mario Bros. They use like the drawings from like the Super Show.
Apparently it's sexist.
Oh, who cares?
All right, I'm watching.
Me, my eyes and ears, Adam.
Puberty is a radical process.
I just love the part where Mario's like, "Hey, do you want to learn about STDs?"
Hey, paisanos, we're gonna tell you about herpes. Oh my god.
Just Luigi. His voice is just not like
wow,
Mario is
I had
trying
no
to be
idea.
Italian. I think he's at the part.
Or penis.
I think it's more entertaining just watching Adam listen to it and like just hear his reaction.
Just hearing him be like, and that's a penis. Oh, there it
Oh
is.
shit.
What is... Whoa, my god, her boobs got bigger.
What's happening? What's it going?
Oh, we're looking at Peach's A vagina. Let's go. And it's got Mario fucking mustaches.
What is this?
Oh no. Oh, what's happening?
Oh my god.
Are those the Smurfs?
So
Oh,
that's
no.
how it works.
Wow. I'm learning a lot today, though.
You think good.
I think that's the most important thing. We all learned.
That's
something.
true horror.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing I've seen.
That's also like I just went because I'm weird and I go on weird binges. I just binged on like sex ed videos for a while, and I because I need to know.
I just binged sex ed videos.
And there was one where I finally got the context of like, so what if I want to have sex before marriage? Well, then I guess you're just gonna have to be prepared to die.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
At least Mario ain't telling me that I'm gonna go to hell before I die.
That's also true.
It's art.
If you do drugs, you'll go to hell before you die.
Alrighty, well, let's get off this shenanigan and let's get into the next part of this show. Oh, I just realized that the bottom scroll needs to be fixed. There we go. Let's get to the meat of the show. Let's talk about, let's see. Oh, Shay writes, my top 3 horror movies of all time, if I had to say, are Alien, of course. The original Halloween, of course. And John Carpenter's The Thing. Of course.
That's amazing.
All generic picks. You're
Hey, man.
boring, Shay.
But Shay, you got some good fucking picks right there.
Good picks, but a little generic.
Antonio.
Shay, I can't tell if you're a boy or a girl.
Do not assume.
Because Shay can be a
genders.
boy's or a girl's name.
How is it spelled?
Shay.
By the way,
That
Shay,
may have
will
come
assume
off as the
that
most
is a
sexist
boy.
thing I've ever done, or have ever said, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Also, really love the old school Universal Monsters. Well, of course, we all do. Hell yeah.
Of course.
oh man.
Lucas, are you giving yourself diabetes?
Yeah.
Every
No,
day,
heat
bro.
bars are fucking
They
good,
are.
dude. Leave me alone.
Dude.
Yo, what do you got in there for
what,
me?
What? Okay, here's a good Halloween
wait.
question.
What do you want, bro?
Gimme.
Jesus.
Got Reese's?
Hand it over. Yeah, thank you.
I have a question. Legit question.
Thank.
What is that?
The
What's
most
up,
underrated Halloween candy. Antonio, you first.
Oh man, that's hard. All the Halloween look pretty well liked.
Yeah.
Whoopers, I guess.
Whoppers?
Yeah, Whoppers, whatever the fuck they're called.
That's
Those
actually
are
what I
malted
usually
milk
make, no joke.
balls.
Yeah.
Lucas, your turn.
They're like the little malted milk balls.
Yeah.
Your turn.
I
Lucas.
really like those, and like everyone that I've ever talked to was like, those are fucking lame.
Oh, I don't like them. I don't like them anymore, I should say, because they got me sick once.
That's fine.
That makes sense.
I've been there. For me, I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like an underrated or underpraised candy, but I'm personally a big fan of Milk Duds. You guys have had those?
I like milk duds.
those are good.
I feel like Milk Duds are like a candy like that's always like no one really likes them, and I'm like I fucking love Milk Duds. Milk Duds are great.
Yeah, I feel like Milk Duds are the candies that like you always see and you think that people might like them, but like you've never seen anyone actually eat them.
Except me. Except
Yeah.
myself. You got any choices, Adam?
Heather bars.
Heath bars?
Heath bars. I always say heather. That's something you don't want to eat.
You mean like these?
Heath bars are good.
Like these.
But like I remember there was a lot of candy at one point at Five Towns College left over, and they were all Heath bars. No one would eat them. And I'm like, why? Give me.
That's crazy.
Bad pick.
Yeah, that's
Bad
crazy.
pick, bro.
They're not Canadian mints, though. You know what? I have not had Canadian mints since that episode. We shot that episode.
That I'm so happy that you finally
We're very proud
I
of you.
really
you needed.
miss Canadian mints.
Well, we
Not
had
that I
an
can
agreement.
get them now because the border's shut down.
True that. No more Canada
Fuck
for
that.
you.
Mm-mm.
Well, that's what I said. I was
I'm not-
talking to Jenny once at work, and we went to Taco Bell. This is one of the last times I went to Taco Bell, and we got randomly a bunch of hot sauces, and I said, Jenny, you should collect these over the course of the year, and on Halloween, just fill it full of Taco Bell hot sauce packets instead of candy. And I'm gonna hold her to that.
Good.
She better do that.
Good.
Because that's something that I would do. I would love doing.
I want to
that.
see that. I want to see that.
I would love
shit.
doing Canadian mints. If they weren't so damn expensive, I would fill a bowl full of Canadian mints, but not in the bags. I would just dump them into the bowl, because they look kind of like ecstasy pills.
I still remember the one time I went to your room and I saw on your like window, and I'm like, what are those? And you're like, ecstasy pills, and I didn't know whether or not to believe you or not.
Did I tell you? Did I tell you the time that Christian came into my room, and we had a bunch of I for some reason I had to put these mint Tums in a bag, and over the course of the year they got crushed into a powder, and he saw it,
yeah.
and he asked me what those were, and I said, oh, that's my cocaine, and he thought it was legit cocaine.
Oh fuck!
Oh my god.
I love him so much.
He rules.
You want to know what the best move would have been though? Like whether it was me with the ecstasy pills or Christian with the cocaine. You should have just been like, you want to like low key like try some?
Oh fuck!
See, this is why I have you on board with me all the time, Antonio, because I'm just not that creative.
Because like I wanna genuinely know what would happen if hey, do you like low key want one, and they were like yeah, and then you gave them to them, like eating them, would they still believe that it's real, or like would they catch on?
Don't we kind of do that in season 2 of AAL?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to start doing that again. Oh fuck, that means we gotta have an ANP meeting to schedule this shit out. Joy. All right, so let's actually fucking get to the meat of what we were going to do. And that is, what is it? Our top 5 stories that should be made into movies. So, I'm not sure how we should tackle this. I was just picturing, it goes Antonio first, then Lucas and I.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We just kind of go in that order.
Or do we just go, Antonio does 5, I do 5, Lucas does 5. And we slowly go down the list.
I feel like we could do it that way. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Do 5? Okay.
Okay, then. Let's see. If that's the case, I guess we'll just go in order as on screen right now, which is Antonio, then me, then Lucas. But these are our top 5 scary stories that should be movies. And to be clear, these could be real stories. These could be... books, they could be comics, anything that just, as long as they have not been made into a movie, but they should. So let's start with number 5, and we'll go over to you, Antonio.
Okay, so you're gonna notice a trend with mine.
Junji Ito.
Actually, yes, but not all of them are.
Actually, yes.
Ooh.
All of them are. The trend with mine is that all of them are manga.
They're all manga? Oh,
Okay,
let me get
all
ready
right.
for this, sorry.
So my number 5
So why it's number 5 is because there technically is a movie of it already, but it's not
Uzumaki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. I just finished reading Uzumaki not that long ago.
Isn't it good?
Yes, it is so good. It is the body horror that they achieve in Uzumaki is unreal. Like I legitimately do not know how Junji Ito, like, for one thing, thinks of the body. Like, there's one that happens really early on where it's like, and it literally starts everything where, like, the main character's boyfriend's father starts getting really obsessed with spirals.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that by the end of his story, he makes himself into one.
Okay.
And they literally, like, open up like a pot or whatever, and you just see him, like, literally, like it's not just like him, like, curled up, like he's literally like a full spiral, and it's his whole body. You see his face, like, all dead and, like, stretched. And
Holy shit.
Well, they do something really cool with that too, and that's like a kid gets hit while he's riding his bike by a car, and he ends up underneath the wheels, and he inadvertently is in that shape of the spiral around the wheel. And that's before everything starts really going crazy, if I remember correctly. And that was the beginning for me of how things are getting really, really, really weird. I don't know if you could make that into a movie. Like, I'm not looking forward to the anime at all.
I am looking forward to the anime that's coming out, just because I want to. I'm going to because of the art style. How they literally make it look exactly like a moving manga.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that I'm worried about with Junji Ito stuff, is, like, I don't know if I can picture it moving and it working.
I mean, I also have a very unpopular opinion about the Junji Ito collection that came out not that long ago.
Oh, yes, I hated that.
Yeah, a lot of people did, but I really liked it. But I also understand why people hate it.
Yeah, there was one shot in particular that was a frame of, like, it's hard to explain because I can't remember names. But just the framing I thought was just way off. And it was just them sitting at a table.
Mm.
And while in the manga, it's not that at all. But that doesn't surprise me that you picked with Uzumaki. I was going to put it on mine as well. But I was like, no, Antonio's going to do that.
I'm too predictable. But yeah, like, the thing that I really like, and this might, like, it's kind of a spoiler, but it's not really, because I'm not going to say exactly, like, what it means. They don't win.
Oh no, they just become a spiral.
Yeah, they literally just, like, the ending is that they give in, they all die, and then it ends. And honestly, it was really somber.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be.
Well, that's typical Junji Ito.
Yeah. You read, like, I think it's like something chapters. Maybe more, I don't really remember. But, like, you read, like, a bunch of chapters of this manga, and then it's just, they didn't do it. And it starts, like, relatively normal and relatively, like, normal Junji Ito. But then as the chapters go on, like, it just, pun, I guess, intended, it spirals so out of control. And it's literally only, like, the only point of horror that they focus on is the spiral. Like, just that shape. And just how much you could do with it. And it's so strange.
Well, yeah, there's nothing they can do about it. It just takes over that town over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
It's so good.
So, yeah, Uzumaki. Not surprising that you picked it, because I was about to pick it too. That is genuinely great story. Creepy as fuck. All right, my number 5 is the Dyatlov Pass incident in Russia, which I've talked about this many times.
Adam, we talked about that on the stream, right? That was actually going to be one of mine at first. I didn't remember the name of it. That's why I didn't do it.
But
Yeah.
the thing with the story is, I think I know what happened, and I think the mystery is pretty basically solved now. However, I would still love to make a creepy ass movie about this. And essentially, here's the story, and this is a very oversimplified version of the story. A bunch of experienced backpackers in Russia decide they're going to go hiking in the middle of the snow, because that's what they do. And, they're going to take a break from school and everything like that. But they've hiked a lot of mountains. They're very experienced in what they do. So they go hiking up on this pass, and suddenly they don't report in for several days. Now, at first, it's just like, there was a big snowstorm and everything like that, so they might just be running a little late. That's fine. And by the way, they prepared to be running late. But suddenly, a week passes. So finally, the family members were like, come on, we got to report in. Like, they're missing. So they send a search party out there and everything like that. And here's where the mystery begins. What they discover, buried under snow, is they discover the tent, right? They discover the tent. And here's where the first bit of mystery begins. The tent had a giant gash on the side of it. However, when they examined the gash, it was from the inside out, meaning that the people were trying to cut their way out of the tent, not something trying to cut its way into the tent. The next weird thing is they discover two of the bodies about 200 feet away, buried underneath a bunch of snow, and one of them was naked, and then one of them was missing their tongue and their eyes. And then there were the other ones were found underneath this ditch, buried underneath a bunch of snow. And, they showed no extraneous signs of what was happening, that something killed them. But when they autopsied them, they said it looked like they had been hit by a freight train, which makes people think that they got hit by an avalanche at some point. However, the fact that they did not show any external injuries is something to be weird. But they discover all of the bodies, and they discover why those two were naked is because the other survivors took all of their clothing and went out into the woods to find shelter for some reason. They should not have abandoned their tent. Something made them abandon their tent. And here's the other weird thing. They were radioactive. And the Russian government was extremely hush-hush about this entire event. The autopsy report that they gave back cannot be found. Or what they do find, there are a lot of marks in it that are like censorship marks, like they could not release any of the information. To this day, they will not release a lot of information about it. And I would love to see this made into some kind of a movie, a legit movie.
Yeah.
Though what I think happened to them is nothing like aliens or Bigfoot, like a lot of people were sort of speculating and stuff like that. I think the creepier thing is that the KGB were involved in some way, shape, or form. The Russian secret police. The Soviet secret police, I should say. And that's where the creepy things happen. Because there's a lot of explanations as to what happened. And there's actually a good video on YouTube that actually somebody gives their own explanation to what happened. And that's honestly what I think what happened. However, most of the explanations that have happened make sense except for one or two spots. Like they explain some things but not others. And so on and so forth. And it's really creepy because they took a camera with them and you can see them smiling the night before they die and everything like that, just hours before they died. And everything like that. They were and it's a very creepy story, and I would personally love to see it made into a movie to the point that I wrote a script for it. So
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I remember when you told me, like, in the moment, I kind of thought about it a lot. And it's like, this is such a fucking mystery to it. And, like, it's just, when you think about it and putting yourself in their shoes, what the fuck happened?
What the fuck happened is exactly the reaction everyone has when reading about the story or listening to it. And for a while there, this was in my humble opinion, this is still the scariest story I have ever heard, just because of how unsolved it is, and how brutally these people were killed. Because especially the woman who had her tongue cut out. And when they did an autopsy on her brain, it's clear that certain parts of her brain were firing, and those were the parts of pain, meaning she was alive when her tongue was cut out. And the fact that they found blood in her stomach does not surprise people, because, of course, your tongue has a lot of blood going to it, and if it gets cut off, you're going to go down. Gravity's going to do its work no matter what, So, but the fact that, her brain looked like it had fired. It's crazy that they can tell that, by the way. That's kind of crazy that they can see that. But,
Yeah.
That was really creepy. Anyways, but I remember being scared shitless about that. I was scared to go in the woods for a while. Yeah, it's one of those kind of stories. So, Lucas, how about your number 5?
Me? Actually, I believe I talked about it in that same stream. And forgive me if I don't remember the exact details of the location of it, but there was a story I heard about online about a year or so ago where it was 2 girls. They were going on a hiking trip. And
I know the story.
They went off path, and then all we know about it is what was all the photos that were left on their camera and all the distress calls they tried to make. So the photos, they start out pretty normal. They start out just like, the 2 girls having a good time on a hike. And then it out of nowhere, hard cuts to just like black footage. You can see some foliage everywhere, some phone light. Like it's just
it was using, if I remember correctly from the story, they were probably using the flash from the camera to see where they were going.
To light their way.
Yeah.
To light their way.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it's just in like, I don't know, because I don't think it was ever really resolved, honestly. It just kind of seemed like
they know what happened. They just got lost.
Yeah, they got lost, and then, but it's just, to me, it's just such a tragic thing and scary scenario to be in that it legit, when I first looked at it and like read into it and saw the photos, it bothered me for a few days. Like, it was scary. Like
reminded me very much of like the Blair Witch Project, where it's like they just get lost in the woods, and it just their hysteria is only making it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Because they did find the bodies, if I remember correctly. They found them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because they found the camera. They found the camera with the bodies, and they were like down in a ravine. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty sure it wasn't. If there's any consolation to the story, in the real life story, I'm not saying if you make it into a movie, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But if the real story itself, they were not murdered.
Yeah, I never took it as murder either. It's just they got lost. But that alone can be a great horror
Getting
piece
lost in the woods,
me.
absolutely.
Like, you don't need the supernatural stuff, honestly. Like, you can even play it up like maybe it will be supernatural, but no, it's just the horror of being lost in this forest.
Yeah, that's a trend with my picks, by the way. It's real life horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a creepy story.
Yeah. That was to me my first one that I thought of for this, because it was one that resonated.
It's a great pick.
I'm
I'm glad you picked it, because it is such a tragic kind of horror, in a way, because that could be any of us. Could literally be any of us, including me, who loves going out in the woods and everything like that. It's very easy to get lost in the woods.
Yeah, same.
Very easy.
Oh yeah.
The key is to not panic, and I'm betting that these girls panic.
Yeah.
Very easy to panic. Especially if it starts getting dark out. Fucking squirrel. When I was on vacation, I was out in the middle of the woods, and it starts getting dark out because I was bear hunting, and it started getting dark out. So by the time I start walking back to the house, it's pitch black out by that time. A fucking squirrel scared the shit out of me. Made the loudest ruckus. And it's a fucking squirrel. And so I'm sitting there like, yeah, I can really understand why people would run and get lost just because of that shit. So, yeah, I'm really glad you picked that story, because the woods truly is one of the... Other than the oceans, I bet you the woods is the scariest place in the world. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I could attest to that.
Why, have you gotten lost?
Slightly. I've gotten lost in upstate.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've almost gotten lost, but I didn't. I was lucky I didn't panic. Looking back on it, I was like, I'm shocked that I didn't panic. but I did get lost. The thing that made me go like, okay, I kind of know where I am, is that I knew just from the trail and the way how the sun was setting, that if I keep going this way, I'm going to hit Route 2, which is the big road through where I live. If I keep going this way, I hit Route 2. Once I hit Route 2, just follow it. So,
I also remember the last time I got kind of lost in the woods. It's actually kind of funny. Is a GCN video that's gonna be coming out kind of soon. So we did a pilot episode for a new show on GCN called GCN IRL, where we just go. It's essentially just GCN Unis Honest, but we came up with this concept and even filmed it before that even existed. And the first episode that we did, it was geocaching. And the second geocache that we had to go and get was located in the woods that was like behind a park in like Patchogue, I think. And so we go into the woods and we finally find the geocache that we're looking for. And then we start to head back, and it like we had no idea where to go, and it got to the point where we stopped like caring about where we were walking. We walked through so many fucking prickers. When we finally got out, like maybe like an hour later, we had so many ticks on us.
Oh man.
ticks on us. Ticks are the worst.
Oh man.
Yeah. It was simultaneously a good time and
absolutely.
the worst time.
I understand that completely. Yeah. Well, Antonio, let's go on to your number 4.
All right, my number 4, another manga. Other than I actually have like a couple honorable mentions that I'll like say briefly before we go to number 1.
Okay.
So my number 4 is a manga called Inside Mari. So
heard of this.
So it takes the premise of like a body swap like thing, and it's between a college like shut-in, not even college because he dropped out, but like, you know, like a 20-something-year-old shut-in and a high school girl that he's in love with. And the high school girl wakes up one morning and it's now the shut-in. And the first mystery that they need to solve is, okay, so is she in my body? And then the horror that they face when she's not.
Ooh.
So then the whole thing kind of becomes then, well, then where is she? Like, where is her, like, essentially her, like, brain, her soul, I guess. And it starts going through all these twists and turns, and even just the horror of like it's not presented as like a super horror. It's presented more as like a drama, but it still has horror like ish themes. It just has like a feeling of dread throughout, where it's like he has to all of a sudden like live her life, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't know who my friends are. I don't know any, and then when he does find out, it's like, I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
So how do I even begin to fit in if I don't know anything about them? And then it's also like, I need to get dressed. And he's like, I don't want to be that scum to like see her naked. And then through all the twists and turns, it has like a very interesting ending that I don't want to spoil for anyone who wants to read the manga.
Not your case of a typical horror, I could tell you that.
No, it's more psychological.
You might like there's a Frankenstein, Hammer Frankenstein film that kind of is about that. Called Frankenstein Created Woman, and it's good because of the characters and everything like that. It's a classic case of a film that shouldn't work, but somehow they make it work. And it kind of reminds me of that story, actually, Frankenstein Created Woman, where they managed to capture the soul of this crazed murder and put it into the body of this woman, and it's constantly fighting to get out. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. It's a surprisingly good movie. But yeah, I like that story.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to give it a watch.
All right, so on to my number 4, I guess. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. My number 4 is, again, based on a true story. And it's Team Rock Mat, Vietnam, 1970. So,
Okay.
of course, during the Vietnam War. Now, this story freaks me the fuck out. Again, it's one of those cases where it's something real and nothing mythical or nothing unknown. So it's basically a 7-man Marine patrol into Vietnam, land in the jungle, and move into position for a 5-day reconnaissance mission. This is quite common. They would have like a squad of 7 men go out and just look for the Viet Cong in any way, shape, or form. And they would be out there for days at a time. And this one was led by a guy named Sergeant Robert Flagger. And he was apparently an extremely accomplished radio operator, so he was very good at like calling in, spotting, and so on and so forth. And he was the guy in charge of the squad. So it was a standard operation, basically, as night was beginning to fall on the first night, to move the patrol out to space them out. Mainly because if one person gets killed, not all of them get killed. And they can also cover more ground that way. So it's kind of like a double-edged, 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing. So in the middle of the night, a bunch of team members heard, they could hear commotion coming from where Flagger was positioned. They heard a muffled scream. They heard trees breaking, then nothing. Now, it's standard operations to not immediately go running to that location. The best thing you can do is to hunker down and stay still. Because if you start moving and it is Viet Cong, if it is the enemy, if you go running to that position, hell, you probably just ran into a trap, and now instead of one person's dead, you've got 2, 3, 4, 5, or worst case scenario, all 7. So they stay still. However, they do radio in. They're told to stay put, and so they do until morning. Now, of course, morning comes. They go to where Flagger was, and what they find is they find the radio. They find his rifle, his mask, but Flagger is gone. And they find a lot of blood, and they see a trail where clearly something's been dragged. So they follow it. They follow it for quite a while, and eventually they find his body pinned up against a tree. And it looked like half of his body had been horribly bitten and lacerated.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
And then they continue to look around, trying to find something as they start gathering his remains and everything like that. They hear a rustle in the tree, and out comes a fucking tiger. A giant tiger.
Holy shit.
Out of nowhere. Starts coming towards them. They shoot everywhere trying to get this tiger. Because a tiger, believe it or not, will blend into the jungle like there's no tomorrow, even with the orange. Will blend in like there's no tomorrow. And so they're firing everywhere. They miss the tiger, and the tiger like runs away. And so they're like, all right, we got to get out of here. And so they continue to gather his remains. They sort of continue on, doing the reconnaissance mission as best as they can as they start moving their way back towards an American base or where they can get lifted by helicopters. Unbeknownst to them, the tiger is stalking them.
Ooh.
And the tiger would attack again. They would shoot, and somehow this tiger would evade the fire. And so it's basically now a race against time, getting to the helicopters before the tiger eats you. And to me, that's the definition of a good horror story. Have it take place over the course of one day. And these soldiers trying to survive against this fucking tiger that just wants to kill you.
That just not only just wants to kill you, but also refuses to die.
It astonishes me. Actually, you know what? They probably did hit it. It's just the tiger just kept going. Like that's crazy
Yeah.
to me too. But yeah, so that was a story that I heard and from Vietnam. And this is quite common, believe it or not. Apparently this is quite common. And
I remember one of our teachers actually told us a story about her with a tiger in the wild.
was it Ken Kelch?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was over there. He was over there
Where
in
he
Vietnam.
literally,
He's
like-
a Vietnam vet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because you
know.
weren't just fighting. You
but
weren't just
he said
fighting
that,
the Vietnam over there. This wasn't like Europe in World War II. You're fighting literally everything is trying to kill you.
Yeah. I just remember the story he told us that he saw the tiger and he like literally just took out a grenade and was like, either like we're both dying
Yeah.
or you're dying.
Oh yeah.
Either way you're dying. And then like as he like pulled like the pin, the tiger ran away and then he was like, uh-oh. So he had to put the pin back in and make sure the thingy didn't explode. Because apparently you can do that.
Oh yeah.
I did not know you could put the pin back in.
Truthfully, I didn't know
Yeah, you
that
can
either,
put the pin
honestly.
back in. I don't recommend it, but you can. Yeah, you see, if I was Ken, I just would have fucking chucked it. However, that could have alerted them to his position, so...
Well,
yeah.
that's why he didn't do it, is because he didn't want to alert them to their position.
Suppose that's why he's a soldier and I'm not. But yeah, I read that story and I was like, oh fuck, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, Lucas, you're number 5. 4.
Four.
Do the 4!
So,
Don't do the 5!
my number 4, it's kind of lame. I'm gonna be honest with you, but because I actually really would like to see the Left 4 Dead games. I would really like to see those characters be put on the big screen, because there's an entire world for those characters that's told throughout like wall scrollings and just small exchanges. And I just really, it's something, and they've had like small tie-in comics too that helped flesh out the characters a little more too. I just really would like to see that. I'd like to see more of those characters and their story get fully told or something. It's just interesting to me. I'd like to see like the special infecteds be like animated and stuff.
Honestly, I couldn't
Left 4
agree.
Dead.
Honestly, I couldn't agree. I honestly couldn't agree more with you.
The tongue
Like,
one in particular.
I know it's kind of...
that creeps me out.
Yeah, the smoker.
I know it's kind of a lame pick because it's zombies, but like I like those characters.
Yeah.
Like they're fun characters. They're really fun, and I'd like to see the full story be told in like a film or something. Like I think it'd be really cool. And then to see like imagine seeing like a practical effect boomer exploding or something.
Yes.
That would be fucking awesome.
Oh my god. We have to do Left 4 Dead on A&P
Oh,
Gaming
absolutely.
at
I'd
some
be so
point.
down.
I used to play Left 4 Dead with my friend Mike, like literally constantly.
I would play Left 4 Dead all the time when it first came out, and then when Left 4 Dead 2 came out, I would continue to play that as well. Like, it's such a simple game. It's really not that complex of a game.
Yeah,
but it's so fun. Like,
so
it's
good. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Just
So-
seeing like a practical effect like spitter.
Yeah,
Oh.
like that would be awesome.
Yucky.
No, it's the tongue one. I'm sorry, the smoker. That one's
Smoker-
the one
yeah,
that
Smoker's
freaks
a-
out the most.
Smoker's the tongue one.
Especially the sound it makes when you just hear it go like
Yeah.
Hunter is the hooded one where it like pounces on you. Jockey is like the weird
Jockey's
gremlin guy.
fuck off.
And then the tank's the big one, the big muscle one.
Oh my god, there was one campaign. We were playing on easy, got 3. And we were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. So yeah, that's my pick. But it'll probably never happen because Valve doesn't really do anything cool anymore. But
Facts.
But a respectable
that's my
pick.
Thank you.
Antonio! 3.
Okay. My numero 3 is Akun, also known as The Flowers of Evil.
Uh-huh.
Same author as Inside Mari. So Akunohara is... There's actually an anime, but it's really weirdly animated. Also, they only did half of it because it didn't get picked up for a second season. But I read the entire manga, and essentially the premise is this boy who is not a very smart human, all things considered, because this is going to sound really weird, accidentally steals the popular girl's gym clothes.
Oh.
And the reason why it was an accident is because he was in the classroom, like, doing, like, he, like, got in trouble for something. He had to do, like, classroom duty, like, cleaning, whatever. And he saw that she left the gym clothes there, and he was, like, looking at them. And then someone started to come, and he's being the genius that he is. He's like, oh, fuck, and, like, puts it in his bag and, like, runs home.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, why did I take this home? What is going on? So, you know, it starts to get out that there was a pervert that stole someone's gym clothes. And then the rumors start, and then only one girl knows that he did it.
Yeah.
And she uses this opportunity to essentially blackmail him into the fucking earth. And the entire manga is, like, their relationship and how much she, like, essentially damages him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she breaks him mentally to the point where at one point during the manga, and this is, like, one of the climaxes, they go to a festival just to publicly, on TV, burn themselves alive.
What? What?
Oh, now I'm intrigued.
It spirals into that. Yeah. It spirals into them being that crazy because the explanation is she obviously has, like, issues, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because she gets any joy in humiliating someone. It's not because she gets off on, like, just having him do whatever she says. It's literally just because she is so bored that she has nothing better to do. And this is how she chooses to use her time.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked.
And just the mentality is very
Is the book from her
interesting.
POV?
The book is from
Okay,
his
good.
POV.
I was like, it can't be from hers.
No, she is, like, the secondary, almost antagonist character.
Okay.
It is one of the best manga I've ever read.
Who wrote this?
I gotta look up his name. Let me see. It is... God damn it. Shuzo Oshimi.
Oh, yes, I know this guy, actually. I actually prefer him
I told
to
you
Junji
about
Ito.
it before.
I
So
prefer
do
him to
I,
Shinji Ito
honestly.
just because his horror is more mundane. And for some reason, I've always
Yes.
found the mundane horror
And-
to be fucking terrifying.
Well, because it can happen. It can happen, and that's what makes it so much more interesting. Only one of his mangas, to my knowledge, I didn't finish it. And if there's one thing I know with this guy is that you have to finish it to fully understand the thing. Only one of his read is maybe Paranormal.
Okay.
And I think it's called Happiness. And it's essentially like a very
It's a vampire
realistic
one,
take,
isn't it?
a very realistic take into
Yeah,
becoming a
okay.
vampire.
Okay.
Yeah. Akunohara, number 3.
I guess we're on my number 3. My number 3 is an H.P. Lovecraft story.
Oh.
I am intrigued.
It's called At the Mountains of Madness.
Oh, isn't that the one that you're in?
No.
Oh,
That is not the one that I'm in. Sorry. I should have picked that one just because I'm in it. That is no joke, Lucas. I am literally in an H.P. Lovecraft story.
Adam,
Takes place
You
in New
told me.
Hampshire.
I'm aware.
Takes place in New Hampshire. His name is Mr. Noyce. And it's spelt Noyes. Anyways, At the Mountains of Madness is my personal favorite H.P. Lovecraft story because it explains the origins of man. And it's essentially, it takes place in Antarctica, and it was written during the time when exploring Antarctica was really popular. Antarctica's probably... Actually, you know what? I take that back. The woods is not the most terrifying place on Earth. Antarctica is. And because of how cold it is. And it's about this exploration of a few different people, a few different groups that go out there. And the main POV, who is basically, again, in typical H.P. Lovecraft fashion, it's written in the style of like a diary. They hear on the radio that they've discovered something really fantastical. And they describe what looks like the sort of weird alien that the dogs cannot stand. And they then go dark. They don't get any word from them. And eventually the main character, his name is Blake, and Pabodie are the two main characters. They find the wreckage of the crew, and it looks like they all went mad. And well, eventually they report that in, and as terrible as that is, but they got to keep going with the expedition. Eventually they discover these mountains that dwarf Mount Everest in Antarctica. And they discover on the other side of this mountain, and within this mountain is the remains almost perfectly preserved of an ancient alien civilization that was here millions of years even before the dinosaurs. And they literally, the rest of the story is them discovering the history of these aliens, that they probably created the dinosaurs. They created life on Earth as we know it. And their downfall. And this, of course, goes into the whole legend of this features, the old ones, which is part of the Cthulhu mythos.
Yeah.
And everything like that. This is a part of the mythos. Arkham University's in there and everything like that. One of the creepiest stories ever written, in my humble opinion. Definitely my favorite one, because it has all the things that I love in that I find scary in it. That is the idea that we're finding out where we came from, which I think is absolutely terrifying. It takes place in Antarctica, which is a terrifying location. It takes place where it's fucking freezing, because I've always thought cold locations are scarier than hot locations. So on and so forth.
Yeah, it's usually more confined, because it's like
Well, you can't
go
really
anywhere
go freeze
anywhere
to
'cause it's
death
freezing
and
cold.
everything like that, and it's harder to find food and everything like that. I've always frequently have said that hell can be frozen, and like that's one reason why I love The Terror so much, and so on and so forth. But yeah, a really great story. Guillermo del Toro wanted to make it forever. He still does, apparently, but no one will greenlight it. Yeah, no one will greenlight it. And like they discovered this pocket remnants of like a species of penguin that have gone blind because they are in the darkness so much, and they're like really creepy and inbred and everything like that. It's a really creative story. It was written in a time when it wasn't mainstream to get the idea that we came from alien origins, or that something created us. And to me, some of the mundane horror of At the Mountains of Madness is the fact that what created us originally created us for food. We were cattle, and eventually they discovered that we could we weren't really us back then, but we could become intelligent and everything like that. And eventually we escaped, and their downfall led to us becoming free, quote unquote. And again, it's not really like us. It's what eventually would turn and evolve into us, and so on and so forth. And all life on Earth stemmed from this one alien civilization that came down here from the skies. And like there's a massive war that happened several times where there was like a two of the species of these people, those who were on land, which were in Antarctica, which at one time was a jungle, and then at the time of their existence, and then there was another group underwater, and they hated each other, and they constantly went to war with each other. And so on and so forth. And it's the fucking world building alone in this book is fascinating. And it's written because it's from the point of view of a scientist. It's written very clinically. And that makes it creepier.
Yeah.
He describes some of these horrific things in such a matter-of-fact way that not only does it sell to you that hey, Blake's an actual scientist, or whatever this guy's name is, he's an actual scientist, but two, it somehow makes it scarier that he could be describing this stuff and be so nonchalant about it. And it's a phenomenal book. And short. It's really short. You could get this done in a day. And there's an audiobook on YouTube that I highly recommend too. It's really creepy. What's that?
Yeah, that's nuts. Especially like the part of like mentioning that we might have been cattle.
Kind of.
To something like that.
Like we were cattle, and then we turned into like. Again, it's not us. It's I forgot what they were called.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It would eventually turn into us.
Yeah.
They eventually became. They eventually became like slaves in a way because they were intelligent. So they started using them as a workforce and so on and so forth. And eventually there was like some kind of these things uprising and so on and so forth. It's really weird. Yeah. And the world building alone in the story is really worth it. And I would love to see it made into a film, you know, an archaeologist going out to Antarctica. It would have to take place during the 1920s. It would have to be a period piece. That's the big thing with this. But yeah, I would love to see it made. Somebody made it into a game. I know that. But I guess the game isn't that good. So. That was my number 3. Lucas.
So it's me now. Well, it's funny you mentioned a game because I'm going to be talking about a game. Really an adaptation of the story of this game, but it's more so the things that are implied throughout it. So there's a game called, we played it actually on Gameplay Buddies, called Bendy and the Ink Machine. And what that game is, it's basically like a Disney-like studio, but something clearly went horribly wrong, and these twisted and contorted cartoon characters are existing, and there's a whole story of it in the game. But that's not necessarily what I want to talk about in a movie adaptation of it. What I want to talk about is what happened before that. Because it's a lot like BioShock, where there's like hidden tapes throughout the game where you can find out lore. And to me, that's really interesting because you get to hear how deranged the like Walt Disney of this game is, Joey Drew. You kind of get to hear how deranged and crazy he gets for success, to the point where it's almost implied that he did some kind of ritual to make these characters actually exist. And like people were sacrificed to make these characters exist. And there's throughout the games, there's like a lot like in Left 4 Dead, there's writings on the wall, and I remember one, it legit actually like broke my heart a little bit because of the implication of it. You go into this one room, and you just simply, you turn the corner, and just written on this big wall right here is just, I don't want to work here anymore. And it was just so sad in the moment, like when I really thought about it. Wow. And that, like, I would like to see it as like the movie, it starts off as this clean studio, but then as the events, by the end of it, the end of the movie, and I would like the scenes to almost like, the first few opening scenes are just shots of the office, you know, it's clean. The final ending is after everything has gone down, is just like the mess of it, the ink everywhere and all that. So I think telling that story, and maybe, because there is a new game for it coming out. And maybe they'll go into that. But I just think that would be a really interesting story to tell, the downfall of the Joey Drew studio and what happened exactly. Because it just, there's so many different like tapes you find out. Like there's one, the person who would do taxes, they would go into like people's different like roles, like the janitors and all that. There's one of a guy who did taxes, and you find his room, and there's just numbers written all over the wall. And he was going crazy over doing taxes. And when you get to his audio tape, all it is it's just gurgling like he's drowning in ink or something. And I really think there could be something really special there with that. So that's my number 3.
I am intrigued. I'm going to have to watch these.
Yeah, it's
yeah. Literally me watching the Gameplay Buddies like to Bendy.
Yeah.
Same thing with Danganronpa as well.
Uh-huh.
But like like watching you guys play through it, I was like, oh my god.
The game has a lot of implications, and that I think to me is what makes those bits actually scary. Like it's not necessarily like the creepy cartoon characters to me. It's the implication of these said characters that are so upsetting to me. And like genuinely kind of terrifying when you think more and more about it. But yeah.
We just need to make a good movie, a game to movie adaptation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just? I'll advocate Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. But
Antonio?
All right. So my number
Your number
two. So my number poo. This one and the number one spot were like so fucking close to each other that like it was really hard to decide.
Mm-hmm.
So my number two spot is Chi no Wadachi. English name is Trail of Blood. So it's a same author as Akanohara. So the premise of this story is, and so like this kid has like a very overprotective mom, and it kind of shows like their relationship that like he's not really super allowed to like do much, but like the things that he can do, he's like, all right, I can hang out with my friends, but like she is very overprotective of him. And then about 7 or so chapters into the manga, him and his family, like his aunt and his cousins, come with him. They go on a camping trip, and they go for a hike, and the main character's cousin starts like messing around by a cliff, and then he almost trips off the cliff, and the main character's mom catches him, and then she smiles at him, throws him off the cliff.
Oh,
this one.
Yeah,
this one.
And essentially, from that point on, and let me say, having that happen 7
yeah,
makes it work so much harder.
yeah.
Because like everything up to that point was like, is a little like, all right, this lady is very overprotective. Like I'm getting kind of creepy vibes off her, and then she does that.
Yeah.
And they imply that she does it because he like pretended to like push the main character off the cliff, and then when she panicked, like the rest of the family like kind of made fun of her.
Mm-hmm.
But you find out later that that's not why she did it.
Mm-hmm.
That there was an entirely
Question. I'm getting a very
different
loud
reason.
hiss from someone.
Yeah, I hear that too.
I'm not hearing it at all.
It's probably
Is it?
you.
It might be the torch in the background. 1 second. Tell me if this fixes it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the torch that was in the background. Sorry about that.
Anyways, sorry, Antonio, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so the rest of the Molly, the main character's mom, and how she manipulates him into literally becoming just like a mama's boy, and then he becomes just like her.
Really?
Becoming like kind of sociopathic and very dependent upon the other. And it's so disturbing seeing the degradation of what used to be a normal teenage boy into like essentially almost a baby.
Yeah.
It's so and like, and you think at one point the main character gets like a girlfriend, and you are like almost convinced the entire time that like the mom is going to straight up murder her.
Yeah.
Murder her.
Now that's terrifying.
Like it's so it is his best story by far.
Now this story always intrigued me just from the premise alone. Her pushing him off a cliff and everything like that. I was intrigued by this. This is definitely one that I want to read.
Yeah. It's still ongoing, but it's probably almost done.
How is it still ongoing?
I think there's about there's a lot. There's a lot that happens, and they just revealed like the big twist.
Oh, don't tell.
So now I will not. But now is a good time to read.
Okay.
I will say, because now you get the full twist. Like, the best part about how it's revealed, the big twist, is that, like, you will read it, and then you'll get to the big twist, and then, like, not that far after, it'll cut off, and you'll be, like, just thinking about it. And you'll be like, damn, like, what now? What now?
Damn.
Damn. But yeah, like, just that, through reading this guy's work, I have learned that, like, I fucking love psychological horror like this, and just watching the horror that is breaking down another human being.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It is so fucking good, and I wish it would update more often.
Yeah, I love that type of horror. I don't think it's the toughest style of horror to write. I think cosmic horror is by far the toughest horror to write.
Yeah, well, the thing of why I appreciate this and why I think it's kind of tough to make happen is it's not hard to write it, but it is hard to make it believable.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just have, like, to name an extreme example, you can't have someone like fucking Jeff the Killer that, like, he got bullied, like, once, and then now he's like, I have this feeling inside me.
Wait, was that
and then
really
he just starts, like, stabbing people.
Was that really the origin of Jeff the Killer? That he got bullied and then he became Jeff the Killer?
Yeah.
I actually didn't fucking know
Oh,
that.
dude, the origin of Jeff the Killer's creepypasta makes me wonder why it became popular in the first place.
That's funny as fuck.
Because
And
you
also
can...
the reason why he's white is because he had bleached
Here's the thing with Jeff the Killer, really quickly, or a story like Jeff the Killer, I should say, not just Jeff the Killer. You can do that. You can have a character who is bullied and turns crazy, because we know this happens in real life because of things like Columbine, those two kids, and so on and so on and so forth. Even though there's more to it than that, of course. But you can easily do a story where these kids get bullied to the point that they retaliate, and that's the horror. One of my favorite horror films of all times, Freaks, 1932. They were bullied by this woman time and time and time and time and time again, and they finally have enough, and they fucking kill her ass. Actually, they don't kill her ass. They do something unspeakable to this woman.
Gotcha.
Oh, God, such a fucking terrifying movie. And that was made in 1932. That is terrifying.
With real circus freaks.
You know what's crazy? Like, the director, it's not like The Wizard of Oz, where you find out that he treated the directors and the crew and everything, treated the Munchkins like shit the entire way through it. The director of Freaks treated them like royalty. He loved them. He thought it was great working with them. He treated them very well and everything like that. And it's a good case of a director doing the right thing, treating them well and everything like that. So yeah, it's got a happy story. It's not like an exploitative story.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Antonio, what was that one called again?
Oh, it was called Chino Wadachi.
Okay.
Or Trail of Blood.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it because that sounds very interesting as a whole.
My number 2, I guess, now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my number 2. My number 2 doesn't have a name, again, based on a true story. But essentially, it is 900 Japanese soldiers on Ramri Island in Burma, 1945. Japanese soldiers versus saltwater crocodiles.
Oh.
What?
Okay. Proceed.
I shall proceed, thank you.
I feel like the story's in the title.
So, that's the title of the horror movie. So basically, 900 of these Japanese soldiers, right, are stranded. They are just stranded, okay? And so they decide that it is time that they need to retreat and regroup with a larger force to the north. And this is in Burma. If you don't know where Burma is, it's hell on earth. It's a jungle, and that's just about it. And they were going to try to consolidate the forces, make a larger force. And again, this is in 1945, so towards the end of the war. So basically, the path, in order for these 900 men to get there, takes them through a swamp filled with crocs, snakes, and just about anything that wants to kill them. Okay? So, in the first place, many of these 900 men were sick with diseases, mainly malaria. They were already sick, and a lot of them were already wounded. Like they had been wounded in battle. So immediately as you start moving through these jungles, men are bleeding out all over the place, which is only attracting the crocodiles more. All right? So the crocs would apparently stalk them the entire way, and troops would be swallowed whole by mud. You're not just fighting these crocodiles. People would get stuck in quicksand. They'd get stuck in quicksand. They would get stuck in the mud, and then the mud would just basically eat them. And so they drown, and so on and so forth. And so by the end, this is what's crazy to me. In the end, nearly 500 died. Only 20 were captured by the Brits. The rest of them somehow made it through the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
But out of 900, 500 died.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And British troops, this is also something that's terrifying too, and I would certainly make this a part of the movie. British troops could hear rifle fires off in the distance, and every once in a while they'd hear screams all throughout the night.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
And when they went into the forest to investigate, they found a lot of half-eaten troops, a lot of soldiers who drowned, and so on and so forth. So they got to see the aftermath of what happened. And they only captured 20 people. They were only able to save 20. 20 people.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. One night.
Fuck.
Yeah. That's fucking
That's
insane.
not a
That is
real-life
insane.
horror story. I don't know what is.
Damn, Adam, what's your number one then? We'll find out.
Number one is Fat Man Little Boy episode of the
Oh my
Chip Challenge.
god. Oh my god. Lucas.
What?
Don't do the one chip challenge.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Do not do it, dude.
Really?
Dude, it
It is so bad. That episode, I already know exactly how I'm going to edit that episode together. Your guts.
Lucas.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had really spicy hot sauces that are
Me too.
made to be spicy.
Yeah.
I definitely have, but I've heard the horror stories of the one chip challenge. I have heard it.
Dude, let me tell you, we pro episode at I want to say 10 o'clock maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't bring Adam home until probably 1 in the morning because
Oh,
that's when
shit.
we were okay enough to
Holy fuck.
leave my house.
Okay enough to travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And even while we were traveling,
it was pain.
it was pain.
Yes.
Yes.
Was it the kind of heat that can make you almost puke?
Yes,
Oh, yes.
100%.
Yeah, because in my spicy hot sauce I've had, yeah, that was scary as shit when that happened.
Oh, definitely, dude. I looked it up later. Do you? I don't know if you are familiar with Scoville Scoville heat units.
No.
So that's
Oh wait,
how,
yes, I'm sorry.
yeah.
I am. You're right.
That's how they measure
Yeah.
spiciness.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Carolina Reapers have if I remember correctly, 8 million Scoville heat units,
Holy fuck.
and is currently the third hottest pepper in the world. And the 2 hottest peppers above it could practically kill you.
That's fucking nuts.
There's
That's fucking nuts.
There's Dragon's Breath, which is number 2, and then there's Pepper X, which is number 1.
Just like Killer Crocs in the swamp eating 500 Japanese soldiers.
It ate my insides.
Anyways, Lucas.
Oh, me. My number 2. So, my number 2 is kind of it's actually a book series that I read. It was a young adult series I read when I was younger. I don't think I ever finished it though, but I remember it being really interesting. Did you guys ever hear of the Skeleton Creek books?
No.
So, Skeleton Creek was interesting because it had this hybrid. It was like a book and kind of like video hybrid to it, where it's like the book is formatted like it's a journal, like the main character wrote, and it would give you like, and that it's journal entries that he wrote following the events of this town. There's like an old like grist mill in the middle of the forest, and it's just kind of uncovering the mysteries of this town. But you would get like links and stuff to follow. He has like a friend online or something that would make videos. Again, forgive me, it's been a while since I've actually dived into it. I really need to, but like it was interesting because specifically in the first book, one of the final things like you get to see is like the entity that you've been hearing about this. And it's like a man with like a kind of, you know, like the Undertaker, you know, like his hat.
Yeah.
With that, but with like a full skull face, eyes fully like no eyes at all, just completely blank. He appears in a window, and just that scared the shit out of me as a kid. I think I bring it up here because I think it really could be a solid film. I think it could be a really cool film if fully explored and given more than just like, oh, it's just like a book series. Like I really think there was something special with that, and I think it only had 3 books, maybe. Because I know I read the first 2, but I think it had 3. But I wish it was explored a little more. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah.
I've never heard of these before.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either. Like,
It
I've
was
never
actually-
even like.
It was a book. I went to my local bookstore and I found it there, and I just asked my mom because I was a kid if I can get it, and I got it. I was like the entire day I read through it and like looked at the videos and stuff. It was interesting. Yeah.
I remember.
But I would like to see that. I would like to see that story because I remember being it really entertaining, and I want to give it a look back now, thinking because I only just started thinking about it again with this. When you wanted me to come up with some ideas, that's when it like I was thinking about. I was really trying to because I was actually having some trouble with this a little bit of like what I should talk about, and I was brainstorming things. I was thinking of like childhood memories and stuff like that, and then I remembered that, and I'm like, I remember being up at night and like not being able to sleep because of that first book. And I just think it would be cool to see like a full feature length of it.
Would you make 1 movie or 3?
That's a really good question, actually. I think because the way it was formatted, since it was formatted like a journal, I think it could be enough where the 3 books could be 1 movie. But
And it wouldn't create a series of unfortunate events kind of thing.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I forgot that was a
I
movie.
loved those
They made a
books.
movie of that.
Yeah,
those were fun. Those were fun books.
those were good books. Shitty movie. Heard the Netflix series was okay.
Wasn't Jim Carrey
Yeah.
Count Olaf?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And then Neil Patrick Harris became Count Olaf.
How did he do as that? Do you know?
I think he did really well.
That's weird.
From what
casting.
I've seen.
Like, yeah.
Weirdly enough, Neil Patrick Harris can be really kind of creepy.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I got a comment from Biozilla. Hello, Mr. Noyce. Not sure if I've commented on your videos before, but I really enjoy your Godzilla vlogs. Thank you. I enjoy doing them and picking random topics to talk about. If you have any ideas, PM me on Facebook, the AN Productions Facebook, and I'll be glad to do it because I'm running out of ideas.
Oh no.
So, anyways, Antonio, what's your number? Your number
Okay.
one.
Well.
Oh.
Before he gets to the number 1, I have a couple honorable mentions.
All right.
Because I'm WatchMojo.com.
That's your number 1. WatchMojo.com.
So, the first one I have is Signal 100. The reason why it's an honorable mention is because I think there is a movie already. But essentially, I just wanted to talk about it. Essentially, the premise is that there is a classroom full of delinquents and a teacher has had enough. So he forcibly hypnotizes them without like them knowing it and makes it so that there are 100 things that these people can do. And if they do it, they will forcibly kill themselves.
Oh.
And then it just becomes a survival game from there.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's
That's
really, I literally read the whole thing in a night.
Damn.
The second one is called Hina Change. This is an honorable mention because it's not super horror. It's just a creepy premise. But they go more like drama with it. It's called Hina Change. Essentially, a boy and a girl have had like a power that they found out through chance that they can switch bodies at will.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy ends up being gay, getting a crush on a boy, and then he uses that power to get in the girl's body and have sex with the guy.
Yeah.
That's hot. Do you have any idea how many times I've fantasized about doing that? Going into a girl's body and having sex with a guy.
Then it's the perfect hentai for you. And then the third honorable mention that I have, and this one's actually a true story, was the story of Eliza Lamb's death.
Oh, yes.
It creeps me the hell out.
That kind of has been made into a movie. Yeah.
Has it?
I think it's called The Water. It's a Japanese movie. It's really good.
Oh, I have to watch it. But essentially, for those who don't know, the premise is that there's like video footage of this woman going into an elevator.
Yeah.
And she's like, she seems kind of wary. Like she seems like she's kind of hiding from something, and she like looks out like she's looking for someone like to see if someone's like following her. And also weirdly enough, like the entire time the elevator door like isn't closing.
Yeah.
And then like the video ends with that, but then she like somehow was found in like the water tower, like dead, like not that much later.
People reported the water tasted bad, and so they went up to investigate, and they found her bloating corpse in there. And now I followed this story for a while. When I had my own radio show, for a little while, this is one of the stories I talked about, and I did a lot of research on it and what happened and what investigators seem to think what actually happened is she was having a bit of a psychotic breakdown, because if you look at the way how she moves within the security footage and everything like that, her muscles are contorting in weird ways. And it's quite common with people who have a case of schizophrenia. And apparently she was diagnosed with not schizophrenia, but something similar to it. So, in my humble opinion, that's what happened. She ultimately died because she did something that she wasn't supposed to do in a psychotic state. Now, apparently, it hasn't been made into a movie, but the events that happened in it are very similar to what happened in a movie called Dark Water. And I've seen the movie, love it, amazing film, but it's a very similar story. They move into this sort of apartment complex, and the water tastes really bad. They discover a floating corpse in the water tower. She had fallen in and everything like that, and her ghost, of course, has come back to wreak havoc upon everything. Very great, great film. I highly recommend it. One of the creepiest movies ever, and also one of the most bittersweet endings I've ever seen to a movie, where you're kind of like, that was a good ending, where you're kind of like, okay, that all makes sense. The characters make sense. Everything gets rounded out in a very good way, but it's also very bittersweet, in that it's still kind of sad at the same time. Great film. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my actual number one pick is a Junji Ito story. And I don't know if I would adapt it like verbatim, but like just the idea of it is literally legitimately the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. Is my favorite Junji Ito story, The Long Dream.
Yes.
So the premise, the Long Dream starts out with a girl like in the hospital screaming for her life, and essentially it's established that she has an intense fear of death, and it's being mega like brought on because she
does have like a terminal illness essentially.
Okay.
So she knows she's gonna die, and she has an intense fear of dying. So she starts screaming about how like a Grim Reaper has been visiting her, and it then shifts gears to the doctors that are in charge of her, and they're like, "That's not a Grim Reaper. I know what she's talking about." And it's this other patient who at first came in and was saying like, "My dreams feel very long," and like he says like it started out and it started like he would go to sleep and he would dream and it would feel like an entire day has passed, but and then he would just wake up in his bed, and then it got to the point where when he went to the doctor it felt like he was living like 2 weeks, but it was just a dream.
Yeah.
And then it fast forwards to the point, like to present day, to the point where his dreams feel like literal centuries. And then he'll just wake up. And his body starts to like weirdly deteriorate, almost like all of the days that he has lived is actually affecting his body. Hence why she thinks that he's like the Grim Reaper. And then they start toying with the idea of like, what if he has a dream that never ends? And what would happen? So eventually, the man ends up like turning to dust essentially, and the doctors theorize it's like, I guess he's having the eternal dream essentially.
Yeah.
And what they find in his dust is that there were these little crystals where his brain would be. And the doctor theorizes that maybe this was the cause of the long dreams. So being the great doctor that he is, he put it in the girl's coffee because he's like, even though her body will pass, her fear of death will be quelled because now she may live an eternal dream. So in her mind, she'll live forever.
That's fucked.
Okay. Yeah.
It is fucked. And the most fucked thing about it is that it's not very, like, the story doesn't make it clear if that is even true.
Oh, I love that.
Like, there's no, like, thing, like, the only confirmation that you get that like the man is having a long dream is just a theory that the doctor may have. Like, there's nothing in the story that concretely says that that's true.
Yeah.
All that we know is that he put the weird crystals in the girl's drink, and she starts saying that she feels like she's been having longer dreams. And that's where it ends.
Crazy. This is something we could make. I don't think that would be a good feature film though.
No, it would be a much better short film. But that's why I said, like, I don't know if like a feature film would really work unless we like use the premise and play with it more.
If you did like a Junji Ito miniseries.
Yeah.
Every episode's kind of like a Twilight Zone kind of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, they did that. Well, like they even did The Long Dream in the collection. Yeah, it wasn't as good. But it would definitely make for a really good short film, and just the premise behind it is like imagine, like I've always had like this thought, right? Is like, what if like you woke up one day and all of a sudden you were where you were like 5 years ago, and you have to accept that the last 5 years of your life just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That could be a blessing or a curse all at once.
Yeah.
And like all the people that you met within those 5 years, you have to question if they even are real.
Yeah.
Or if your mind just made them up.
And then you have to live with it too.
Aware of the theory? And this freaks me out. This is one of the scariest theories I've ever heard. That we are like the millionth, bajillionth version of ourselves, because apparently when you die, your life flashes before your eyes, and that what we are right now is another replay of your life.
Mm.
Oh, that's gonna fuck me up.
And the first one of us died a long, long time ago, and we could be like the millionth replay of us dying. And so there's no free will or anything. It's already all happened.
It's already been done. Fuck.
Sleep tight.
Yeah. Existential horror gets me so hard, like to the point where like I will have to turn things off.
There is a bit of existential horror that does freak me out. Other than that, where it's like, no matter, and I'm trying really hard to write a movie about this somehow, where it's no matter where you look, you can't see everything. So while I'm here, I can't see anything. Well, I can because I'm looking on a monitor, but I can't see anything behind me. What's there? Is what is there really there behind me?
Oh.
Is it really there?
Oh, okay.
And why can't I see it? And if you turn around to see it, suddenly you don't see what you were originally seeing. You know, like if I'm looking at the camera right now, when I turn around to see what's behind me, is the camera still there? Is it really there?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like an almost like Schrodinger's cat kind of theory. Where it's like, if you don't see the cat, is it dead or is it alive? Weirdly enough, it's kind of both.
Yeah.
Is it, has it changed? Has it not?
And I've always wanted to play with that idea in a film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that story.
I also, going back into existential dread, I also fucks with the thing of like, how do I know what I'm seeing is perceived in the same way as you see it? You know what I mean? Like the classic thought experiment is like, you know, Lucas's jacket or his sweatshirt right now is pink. But who's to say that what I perceive as pink is what you would perceive as like yellow?
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And like, but the thing is that you will never know because we both learn that whatever color that is pink.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. To me, that's not really scary though.
Well, that's like the very bare bones, like non-scary version. But what I'm saying is like, what if like it goes deeper than that? Like what if it gets to the point where like humans look completely different to everyone?
Yeah, yeah.
And then imagine one day you like switch to someone else's perspective, and then everything is different and nothing is right to you.
I love this idea. It's kind of like the do you remember me telling you about Antonio particularly, and then we'll get to my number one, I promise. The story where it was the Mandela effect, where I was going to write it into a short story, and like you couldn't do an audiobook for it because names would slowly change over the course of the book, and you'd only, well, if you read them out loud they sound exactly the same. However, when you look in the book, they start changing the spelling over the course of the book, and it's the guy constantly jumping back and forth between one universe and another, and him slowly getting to the point where it's killing him. It's literally killing him. And it's no one, of course, believes him except for a doctor who doesn't believe him until what happens is eventually he said, I took a vacation to England. Oh, no, in this universe I took a trip to Paris. And the patient, the main character, hands him a picture of his trip to London and says, this is my trip to London. I took it, I put it in my pocket. This is my trip to London. Well, eventually he dies, and the doctor goes to the funeral, and at the funeral he sees that they went to a trip to Paris. In his pocket is the photo, of his trip to London. And he realizes that it's true, and that now he's having the problem.
Shit.
That was a short story that I was writing, and it kind of just fell apart. I could still write it because I still have literally all the notes for it, and I would love to write it, but it just other things kind of got in the way of that. Anyways, sorry about that. My number one, Antonio. I've actually told you about this. I don't think I've ever named it to you, but you'll understand what this is as soon as I start talking about it. My number one is the Berkshire UFO. And it happened on the night of September 1st, 1969 in Berkshire, Massachusetts. Multiple people over the course of a night, going north to south, are abducted over the course of the night. And it happens in order. So let's see. All of them reported a blinding flash of light, followed by a large jump in time where things seemed like nothing happened, except for a couple of minute things. In one case, a couple switched from the driver's seat to the passenger seat. So the driver was he was now in the passenger seat, and now the person who was in the passenger seat was now in the driver's seat. Another case was a child woke up from being on the porch to out in the middle of the field. Things like that. And of course, this all happened over the course of one night. It started up north and slowly was moving its way south, according to their time period. And so as things started going on, people started calling into this radio station saying, hey, there are these weird UFO lights in the sky, and so on and so forth. And people were calling into this local radio station saying they've seen the UFO. A couple of them called in after, they returned back saying, hey, something weird just happened. And suddenly all the tapes were deleted. So, it was live on the air, but it was deleted. So we can't listen to it anymore. Now, what's interesting to me is the aftermath of this. The aftermath of all of this was people being mocked by their locals, their best friends for their entire life, saying you're crazy for thinking you've been abducted. And these people have never met each other before. And they've been mocked by locals their entire life. To this day, they still get mocked. And but a lot of them wound up finding each other. And many of them become good friends because of this experience. So they never knew each other before they were abducted and anything like that. But eventually they find each other. All of these people that were abducted. Many of which are dead because it happened in 1969, but the children are still alive, and many of them are still friends because of this incident. Or they suddenly, there was one case where two people were walking in a store, and they recognized each other from what happened. Like, I'd seen you in my dreams, and they become friends. They sort of, while they're mocked by everyone else, they sort of become buddies. And a lot of these families had to move away because they were getting ridiculed so much. They had lived there their entire lives, and suddenly now they can't escape the fact that their neighbors now laugh at them every 5 seconds, and particularly the children. It was the children who went in and, they'd say, oh, yeah, I got abducted by aliens or something like that. And they would hear from other children, my father thinks you're full of shit. And everything like that, and sort of the town gossip and so on and so forth that happens. And so a lot of people had to move out and leave because of what happened. And I think the story here is extremely fascinating and would make a fantastic movie where there is almost two parts. Part one is the actual night that it happens and so on and so forth. The night of the event, and it would kind of follow in order, so on and so forth. And then the second half of the movie is just that, the aftermath of what happens. Like the radio operator, he lost his job because of this. Because he kept saying, no, something happened, but the police kept making fun of him, and eventually his boss said, enough is enough, you're fired. He lost his job because of this night, and everything like that. And the idea that these people eventually came together and sort of formed a bond. Despite the fact that everybody else thinks they're crazy, they kind of have each other in a weird way. And this particular case, the Berkshire UFO, If you want to learn more about it, you can actually go on to Netflix and you can watch the second to last episode of Unsolved Mysteries, where it really goes into in depth about the story. And it is so fascinating. And while I'm not one to really believe in UFO abduction stories, there's only a few cases that I believe in. This is one of them. This is one of them. There's too many outlying factors that don't quite add up to make logical sense that make me go, they were making this up. I fully believe something happened to them that night. But I would love this to be made into a movie to the point that I wrote an outline of it, and so on and so forth. But I think it would make one hell of an interesting, in the very least, movie. Maybe not necessarily horror scary in a way, but definitely one to make you think throughout the entire thing, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's my number one pick. I would really love to make this into a film.
Yeah, I'm actually like, this is something I feel like that could have got brought up in conversation between us, but I'm kind of glad it didn't, because that's a really interesting thing. Because again, it's not, I don't really, I'm sorry, I had to cough. I see it almost as like, to me, the highlight, the crux of that are the people getting together after the fact that they've been ridiculed for so long, but finding new bonds because of that. That to me was the most interesting thing about what you just described to me. Not the like potential alien stuff to it, just the aftermath.
Absolutely.
Of it. Really,
that's what fascinated me the most about it too. Is especially the story where the two guys are in like the store, and they recognize each other.
Yeah.
And they become friends.
Like
this event brought them together. And it's a weird thing. It's very actually similar. If you want to see a movie that was kind of made that kind of talks about this, it's a movie called Blue Christmas. It's a Japanese film, very good film. And it's about these people. You see, the thing with this movie though is it's a commentary on the Vietnam War, but the movie on the surface is about all of these people who vanish one night and then come back the other night. And they all have one thing in common, and that is their blood has turned blue. And it's a really good movie. You never see the aliens, by the way, but it's a really good movie because the whole thing is not about the abduction. It's about the aftermath of it and the alienation, no pun intended, of these people. You know, it's a giant allegory of basically the soldiers who came home from Vietnam. And so on and so forth. And it's a really great film. Really good film. I highly recommend it. But I would treat it very similarly. Like, if I was to make this into a movie, it would be almost a commentary on the opioid epidemic. Where it's like all these people who do these drugs and so on and so forth and keep relapsing. They sort of find, a lot of them tend to find bonds with each other. And they know that it's something that they've got to struggle with their entire lives and so on and so forth. But they kind of have each other getting through this. And that's personally how I would have approached a film like this. And I remember I messaged Antonio, like in the middle of the night at like 3:00 in the morning. This,
as you usually do,
this huge diatribe. I'm like, what do you think of this? As I usually do, because I don't have Mark anymore, so it's become Antonio.
It almost reminds me of the Philadelphia Experiment.
What's that?
That was it's actually what that one series I was showing you used as like a premise. Interface. It was essentially an experiment of like cloaking. The U.S. Navy wanted to try and like experiment with cloaking and like fast travel, and essentially, so they tried to like teleport a boat, and weirdly enough it worked. They teleported a boat from Philadelphia to New York, but when they investigated the boat, most of the crew was gone, and where they found them was fused to the hull of the ship.
Oh, okay.
I love this. That is the type of thing I would love to make into a film.
Yeah.
Interface used that as like a story element of how what's his mischief I think is
that
the pink
clown?
creature's name is, of like have how he like came to be.
Well, Lucas.
Okay, so it is my turn now, and I'm going to open this up with I'm going to open this up with this. I do have one, not my number one I'm talking about. There is one other thing I would like to mention after that, but I do want to mention that I do kind of apologize because I actually legit had a little trouble with this prompt you gave me of like 5 different ideas that I think, I don't know why. For some reason, I was having a lot of trouble with this. So for my number one, what I picked was one, I am big into like thinking about like having a dream that I had and then thinking about like what that actually meant. Like, why did I have that dream? Why did I dream what I just did? And I remember one night I was reading like threads online about dreams, and I read about like someone was talking about how like it was a dream where his world was entirely the same, but everyone, even includes family, friends, just suddenly despised that person. And I remember reading that and thinking that alone was crazy. But then I had one of those. And I remember waking up in a cold sweat. It was one of the most awful dreams I've ever had. Because imagine you guys go to bed tonight. You go to bed tonight, and you wake up, and it's everyone. Every person just has it out for you, including family, including friends. That scared the ever-loving shit out of me when I woke up. Because like your entire world basically changed because of that. I know it's a weird pick for this, but like it was something that stuck with me after I had it, and it bothered me. And I thought it'd be interesting to share.
Let's make it. We can make that.
Yeah, because it's more so like, because I remember waking up from it, like I couldn't fall back asleep for a little bit, and just still thinking on it, like, what would I do? What would be my end game in that point? Like, how do I even survive in this world that legitimately might actually just want me dead? Like, including like family. And it's like it was just a scary dream that I had, and it stuck with me. Like, why did I have that dream? Probably in this case because I read it. I read about a similar dream like that, but it was like a piece of gum that just stuck to my shoe. I just kept thinking about it. And to me, that to me is interesting horror, is when you're still thinking about it. And that's what I wanted to put for my number one.
Well, I love that pick, and I'll tell you why I love that pick, Lucas. Yeah. It's for a completely selfish reason. That's because I love the idea so much. I want you to write a script for it and have it on my desk in 2 weeks, and we'll make it.
We shall see that.
If you don't do it, I will.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a terrifying concept. Waking up and suddenly everybody wants you fucking dead.
Yeah.
And for like no discernible reason.
Yeah, you never get an answer. There was never any kind of clear answer. It's just your world suddenly your entire society and world suddenly shifted to just no one wants to acknowledge you. No one wants you part of their own world. Some people even just want you dead, but you don't know why. You don't know what happened. And
that's
it just
the horror of
ate
it
at
to me. Is why.
It ate at me. Like, why?
What did I do?
That's part of why I love H.P. Lovecraft so much, is because I love the apathy of his horror. Of why is this happening? It doesn't matter. It just happened. Another great example, speaking of Junji Ito, the hanging balloons. Why the fuck are these things flying all around? Why are these balloons with people's heads on them coming in to hang you? Why? Doesn't matter. Fact is, it's happening.
Even with Uzumaki, even when you get like the explanation of why this town is obsessed with spirals, you're like, okay, but why?
Which is my complaint with Uzumaki. I wish they didn't even do that.
Well, the thing is that it explains it, but it doesn't. Like, to go into kind of spoiler territory for Uzumaki, the reason why the town is obsessed with spirals is because
under the city there is like a giant spiral that was made maybe in like the last incarnation of that town.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like upset that it doesn't get looked at.
Okay.
But like, if I tell you that's the explanation, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I love that. But these are some good picks. I
Yeah.
like them. It's kind of what I was expecting from everyone. I was kind of expecting manga from Antonio and games from Lucas.
Well, that was the other thing I did want to mention. Because there was a really obvious pick I could have picked for this list. And I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't pick it for that specific reason. But I wanted to mention it. Because you guys know I like Five Nights at Freddy's. You do know I love that series with all my heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pick it for this list because I really didn't want
Plus, technically, the movie is being
there a movie
made.
being made?
Exactly.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's been in production for a while now. And I wanted to mention that briefly just because I've always been asked that. Like, Lucas, what if you made a Five Nights at Freddy's movie? What if you got to make the Five Nights at Freddy's movie? And first and foremost, the thing I would tell you is the first response would be, if I were to make the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I'd probably die mid-production because I don't think I'd be able to handle it. I don't think I'd be able to handle this property that has changed this property and the creator of said property that has changed my life so much throughout college. I don't think I'd be able to handle it. But I always think about it. I always think of like, what if I did do it? What if I got to make the script and make the movie? And I think what I would do, even though it isn't probably what we'll ever get, I think specifically what I would want to do is follow the one actual kind of character that exists throughout the majority of the series. And I think I would want William Afton, the killer himself, to be the main character. That's what I think would be an interesting thing to follow from start to finish. And I don't think we even need an explanation as to why he does what he does. The horror of what he does alone is more interesting to me. The amount of lives this man ruined in this series is incredibly terrifying to me, and I don't think we even need a true answer to that. So I wanted to throw that in there too because I think it's interesting.
I even find, if we're gonna go into FNAF talk for a little bit, I even find his relationship with Henry really interesting.
That too.
Because it's just like these two guys that started a business together that exploded into a franchise, and one of them's a killer. And not only that, but that killer killed the other guy's daughter.
Killed his other daughter too. And I don't think, and I wouldn't want to make it as a piece, really, I wouldn't want to make it as a piece to have definitive answers, because that's what everyone wants. I would not want that, because to me, that's not the spirit of this series. Yes, maybe like an answer one or two there, but like having everything together all at once, especially with how big the series has gotten, I don't think we could ever get that. And I don't think I want that either. I think the mysteries that remain should still remain, but like an answer here there isn't bad.
Well, I like that idea personally. The idea of leaving things a mystery, because sometimes I think, and I had this with the Borg in Star Trek and the Reapers in Mass Effect really bad. Mm-hmm. As soon as you explain what they are and where they came from, they stop being scary. Because you can now see it.
Yeah.
You can now visualize, this is where they came from. Okay, this is their origins. This is why they are the way they are. If you don't do that, they're far more frightening. Like, if in Mass Effect, if we never found out where the Reapers came from, and there were just suddenly this wicked death force that came out of the frickin', nether regions of space, that's more terrifying than what they wound up becoming. And the Borg, the same damn thing. If they never explain to me why or where the Borg came from, or why they are the way they are, they would have remained to this day to be the scariest villains ever in cinema. Because, I mean, the Borg is up there, but because of what they do in Voyager, they kind of ruin it for me. But, yeah, I love the idea of not explaining necessarily, especially if it's in a franchise, where these things came from, and so on and so forth. It's one of the things that I wish they never really did in Silent Hill, is explain where everything sort of came from. And everything like that. if they left it a complete mystery, to me it would have been scarier.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. Wow, this has been a long stream. Well, I think...
Jesus Christ, how did 45 minutes pass? Last time I looked at the clock, it was 10.
Yeah. Yeah, a good stream. I think it's time we wrap this one up. And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But, good stream, guys. Good stream, boys.
Yeah.
Good stream.
Yeah.
So, Antonio, why don't you pimp yourself out first? Because I know you've got shit to pimp out.
I got shit to pimp out. Hi, I have a
Damn.
YouTube channel called Game Controller Network on the YouTube. We also have a Twitter, a Facebook, an Instagram, and a Discord server, and a Twitch. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, though I'm taking a short break right now to just like record stuff that I've been meaning to record, but I'll be back to it in 2 weeks. I also have post all my main stuff on the YouTube channel, Game Controller Network. So subscribe there. I just posted a reaction video to the new Super Smash Brothers reveal, and everyone hates it. So that's why you should watch it.
Your turn, Lucas.
Oh, me. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucas. As I did mention in this stream, I have a Let's Play channel with my good friend Steve called Gameplay Buddies, which I would love for you guys to watch. We're actually getting really close. Tomorrow we're starting. Our content is basically gonna be current kind of now, which is gonna be nice because we have a whole system now. Recording. Antonio is our dear editor, and now with not being able to record for a while, we're almost through our backlog, and we're gonna be more or less current, maybe like a week or so off. But that's exciting. So I was gonna mention that, and I will plug here too. I'll plug my personal channel, Powpop, because I'm in the works of pseudo rebooting that channel, if that makes sense. But you'll see it when it comes. I'm in the works of doing stuff for that too. And I also would like to plug. I actually revived recently. I made a Twitter a while back called L Scribble Shack, and it's literally it was meant to be a doodle Twitter where I just post like doodles and stuff. I'm trying to revive that again right now. I'm trying for the first time one of those. They're called like Inktobers, where you have a prompt for each day of October and you draw something in response to it. I found a Five Nights at Freddy's themed one, and I'm doing that right now. I missed today, unfortunately, but I'm gonna make that up tomorrow because I was really busy today. So yeah, if you want to check out L Scribble Shack, I'm gonna try and keep that going even after October. So that's all my stuff.
Alrighty. And for some reason I can't find... There it is. There's my lower third. And of course, you know who I am. I am Major Dundee, and I am a war criminal. And, go on Facebook, like AN Productions. All social media is usually down in the description below. I'll make sure it's there. Make sure to join... it's no longer called Geeks for Geeks. That's one of the big things that I wanted to mention now. It is now the ANP fan group, because that's essentially what it sort of became, so I just made it official. Another thing, too, is if you go on to ANP Network, which is my second YouTube channel, you'll find it on my channel. Starting next week, every Monday through Friday, there will be content uploaded to that channel. It's mostly things taken from streams, bits and pieces, into bite-sized chunks that people can sort of digest, and that also includes our gaming streams as well. So again, every Monday through Friday, a new video will be uploaded there, and then on Saturdays, my main videos will be going on to onto this channel. So you're still going to get, your Godzilla vlogs, your Thoughts with Adam, these live streams, and so on and so forth. Those are always going to be coming out here. So brand new content is always going to be going on to AN Productions. The archived stuff is going to go to ANP Network. So I just wanted to announce that here. If you want to head on over to that and hit the subscribe button to the ANP Network YouTube channel, you can find it. You can find it right on this channel under the Channels tab. You'll find it there. along with my shitpost YouTube channel, which is just called Adam Noise. That's where I just post memes, and for some reason people still think it's a legit channel, but you know, what the hell can I do about that? Okay, so I just want to say thank you, Adam and Cuddle Team.
I'm waiting.
What are you?
The Cuddle Team leader. Thank you, man.
Yes,
I
Fortnite.
can't believe you forgot your own guest's name.
Come on, really quick, Adam, put the camera on me. Full screen me really quick.
Why?
Just do it. Trust me. You can put me back now.
Put me in the trash.
Thank you all very much. I love how I slowly got naked over the course of this video. I started with a nice suit and tie.
Oh, you want some more?
No.
Want some more Adam Noise goodness?
Oh no! Oh no!
Now that is true horror. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you. I know I did this during a Palooza thingy. That's why we didn't get as much audience interaction as I was hoping for, but that was my fault. So, talk to you later, everyone.